Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm trying to get my headsets to connect, so give me a second because they seem to have connected with my phone or with something else. Um, okay, so why is it not connecting? Ahí está. Okay. All right. Let me change the name of this headset. Can you say something, Curtis, to see if I can hear you on my headset?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you on headset.
Okay,
Okay,
good,
good.
good,
Need
great.
to change the name. Okay. That way I can recognize it because I have a different set of headsets and
Sure.
all right. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Curtis. Where's everyone else?
I don't know. Well, I've got you, and it's just the three of us. I watched the video, and you were showing us how to manipulate curves using the pen tool.
Mhm.
And there was a little, you
Well,
showed
no, I didn't show you how to manipulate
the
curves with the
curve tool,
pen tool, the
the
curvature tool. Yeah.
curvature tool. There was a
Yeah.
little blip in between, and you said it's really hard to fix, but it can be fixed other than starting all over. Do you remember that part?
A blip in
Well, it
between.
was like there were two curves that didn't meet beautifully. There was like a
Oh,
little pimple in between them.
well, it's just that okay, when you use the little circle widget to make a corner into a curve and you go back, if it doesn't go back completely, the two anchors are so next to each other that you have to zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in to get them to be separate enough to then be able to select one to delete one of them. If that's what you mean, if not, that's what I'm thinking of, but do you have an
No,
example?
you know what I might do is during the break or something, I'll go. I earmarked where it is in the video. I'll try and
Okay.
capture that. I'll do a
Oh, that's a good
screenshot.
one. Or show me that little tiny bit of the video and I'll see what I was talking about. And then I'll go, oh, that's what you're talking about. The most I can think of right now is just that little space that sometimes happens. And when you are far away, you can't
Yeah.
distinguish. And so you need to zoom
No,
up. But you
I
said
know you
there's a
need to
blip.
zoom in. I know you need to zoom in
Okay.
to see
So
things.
then I don't know. Yeah, you'll have to show me that little bit of the video then to see
Yep,
what
no
you're talking
problem.
about.
I'll dig it up.
All right. Okay. Well, hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Nice to see you. Hi, Vera. Hi, Christina again. And Vera again from yesterday. And Andrea just from once a week. And Curtis from once a week. You guys are my once and twice. But Christina is at twice on the same day. So she's got like staying power here. All right. Amberly was here this morning. She's going to be here hopefully this afternoon too. Here comes Moni, who is also here this morning. All right. So let me separate it. So you guys, I am right now in Argentina. So this that you are seeing is the wall of my mom's house and the fact that, well, I just took off my jacket as I was outside, but it is freezing cold because it's winter. And it's going to be nighttime very soon because we're 5 hours ahead. So all of this is to explain that I would appreciate reminders on time. I did fix the alarms yesterday, and I think the alarms are going to tell me about midway that it's time for a break, and that about at the end that it's time to end. But since my times are so off, just in case, I kind of foisted on you to say, hey, you forgot our break, or we're about to end the class, that kind of thing. Just give me some pointers in case my alarms didn't get set correctly. Once I give them a once around for a whole 2 days and all the classes are set, then I should be able to trust them. But since this is my first go around on an evening class, and yesterday they didn't go off, so I think I fixed them. All right, so Vera, I'm sorry about the unstable internet connection still. I wonder what's happening. I know that the Wake Center was out of power, out of internet connection all day yesterday. I don't know how they're doing today, but they all had to go work from home. So something about what service, I don't know.
It's
Is
back
it
on. It was Frontier.
okay? So it was a Frontier issue, and I have Frontier at home, so it's interesting.
Well, do you think that
Frontier in
Um,
Argentina.
to do with the
I'm wondering.
problems like 911 was out, air
I
traffic?
heard, well, I
It
heard
was
that it
all
was
related.
a fiber optic cable got
Yeah.
cut is what I read. So I guess
Yeah.
everyone so where does anyone know where it got cut or what happened? But anyway, the whole point is that if yours is not back correctly, Vera, then maybe it's still not about that. Maybe yours is something different. Anyway, so hi, Andrea. I hear about the audio, so that's good. And I actually have some people talking because my mom just had a visitor come in and they're saying goodbye. So if you hear a little behind me, hopefully, they know I'm teaching and soon enough they'll get quiet. But poor mom, she loves having me here, but I'm very invasive. I'm sitting for 9 hours in her middle of her living room, dining room table, talking at you guys. So I have you on headset, so at least she doesn't have to hear you all. But she hears me la 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 for like 9 hours because I start at, 9 a.m. for you guys and finish at 5 p.m. for you guys. But here I'm basically on until 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. I don't know. So it's the whole day. But she's, as long as she hears my dulcet tones, moms, she's very happy anyway. But it's hard to keep them quiet all the time. So anyway, hi Barbara, hi
Hi,
Amberly and Moni, and I think everyone else I already said hi to. So
what's the
okay, it
weather
looks
like?
like cold. It was
Is it?
40, it was 45 this morning. See, I don't understand Fahrenheit. That's one thing that you can't tell I'm not American is because I don't sound like I'm not American, but I've never ever gotten accustomed to weather. And so oh, look at that. It warmed up. It's 50 right now. So it was 50
Well, the
when I
sun just
went
came
out.
out here.
Yeah, so cold when you sit all day at a chair doing nothing but talking, which is what I'm doing, then it really does feel cold when I go out. When I went out just now, I had a break in between classes and I went out to just move a little bit, just walk a few blocks. And I froze because I've been sitting here doing nothing. So I need to go out next time with some more jackets, which I have. I just didn't think of putting them on because my mom has the heating and it felt good in here. All right. So welcome back. Head over to the chat. Only two people have written in there. So good afternoon, everyone. And type a little hey ho into the chat and then we'll get going. So I'm going to share my screen.
Afternoon.
And here we have, oh, this one's new. I hadn't seen yours, Andrea, nor Amberly. Cool. You guys have posted some since I checked last. All right, nice. So I like your comment here, Andrea, that you could sit here for hours and hours and play. And that's Moni too. You and Moni would get along because she just loves playing in Illustrator. Um, but yeah, good job at doing things that look like something. Definitely Amber's designs look like something. I love this one. Look at the fig, you guys. I think it's a fig, but it was a fig. The Christmas tree. And ultimately, it's not like complicated shapes. It's the shapes that we've been doing, but she created something out of it. Um, that looks like something, which was my handout. Now, this also looks like something, got creative and made a little doggy there. And it's so cool. Now, again, if you're not up to making things that look like something yet and you're just making shapes, that's still good. Now, Andrea added some layers and gradients and fills. I haven't really taught that yet, but she knows how to do it. So that looks really cool. But I haven't gotten to fills, but I have taught you layers. So what she did is she put different gradients into each one of these, and then once you overlap them and they have opacity, it kind of turns into like a little piece of, abstract art. Nice flowers. This is all the stuff that we did in class. Thank you for posting the classwork, you guys. I need that. I need to see the classwork done. so that we get to, so that I can give you guys attendance and it's not like one image is better than the other that gives you a better grade. It's the fact that you're doing it and putting into practice that you're using the tools that I need to see. Okay. So Vera, this is wonderful. And again, whether the flowers are wonderful or not, which they are, I really like here how you have divided all of the different shapes. Last week you had this issue with grouping, and you're doing better here with the grouping. I see that there's still a couple of things that are hanging out, like the pink coral is hanging out, but I don't see it. So maybe it's something you have there. Right? But notice that she has 2 pages here. Okay. And I'm seeing two artboards. And I'm seeing it's only one layer. So I'm seeing the elements of both artboards, right? So here's the yellow trowel or yellow towel and something from there, but I'm not seeing it. So the only thing you might want to do, if you're making completely different art pieces, that might be a good example of when you might want to create a new layer and have one layer be, I just see a sun, I don't see what the rest is, and have another layer be this one, if it's a complete different art. So then that might be a place to go down here to the bottom of the board, click on the little plus sign, creates a new layer, and then grab all the parts and pieces that belong to the flower and drag it up to layer 2 or whatever, right? That might be useful. Now, if instead with one piece of art, you're creating 3 different shaped things, as I said, maybe one is the tag, the label for your bottle of whatever, maybe you make lotions and you're using the same label, but you're changing the colors 3 times for the lavender or the olive oil one or whatever, then maybe you keep with them all in one and you just change some things. But when it's 2 separate pieces of art, that might be a good reason to do a layer. But good job on getting the individual let's say creatures or pieces, like there's the tulip and there's I saw the fish somewhere. There's the diving board, but I don't see the diving board and all that kind of stuff, but I see that you separated the parts and pieces. So well done. And then here's the other piece that I saw it from a side. We just seen that little bit before she had worked on the second one. So at this point, after you're done with this, when you're starting on the second one, you can begin by clicking on the plus sign down here and a new layer happens. And then you work on your second layer. Now, the problem with new layers, if you get too excited about layers, is that you can't share. So it's not like I can select the green from this one and the green from that one and join them in a group if they are in 2 layers. Versus if they're in the same layer, I could do that, right? Like if in the same layer, it doesn't matter if it's there or here, it all could be part of a group or part of a whatever. But once you select this, make a second layer, those pieces are basically not going to be able to be joined to this pieces ever. So then you need to make sure you're in the right layer. To do that, I would lock one layer. So I would lock layer 1 if I'm done with this one. When I start working on layer 2, I work on this one. That way I can't by mistake end up suddenly not noticing that I've made the sandals in layer 2 and the chair in layer 1, and then I can't put them together, right? So you want to, when you're ready to go back to work on this one, you lock the tulips, then you go back and work on this one and you move the sun around, and then you lock the sun and you move over there and you move the fish around. Does that make sense? That way you can't make a mistake on which one you're working on. So that would be one way. Or just make 2 different files. At that point, you're operating basically as if it's 2 separate files. So if you're going to be sharing, both are going to have this, maybe maybe both are going to have the same sun, but one's going to be daylight, one's going to be in the desert, and one's going to be in a pool. Then there's elements that you share, then it's fine to keep them in the same file. But if you're going to do 2 separate, completely separate things, then you might as well have them in a separate file, and then you don't have to be worrying about ending up with your pool in the middle of the tulips and the fish in the middle of the desert. Does that make sense? Anyway, great job getting your groups. That was a concern last week, and you really worked hard at it. Well done. I like the shapes that Curtis is working on, this little like grabbing scary thing. And then you did some very symmetrical shapes here. We're going to be doing more of this kind of shapes with a different tool that we're doing today. So anyway, good job, everyone. I didn't see any questions other than the this one here. I was looking for it. I was able to lay down my rectangle because I started with simple rig. Can I make my towels on the ground lay flat? Is there an easy way to do this? So that was the question. I knew there was a question somewhere. I was trying to remember what it was. So yeah, there's it's interesting because there's in Photoshop, there's some perspective tools that give you a chance to do this quickly. In Illustrator, it's not as simple to do that, but I'm going to show you some tricks how you can scale and skew, okay? So, but we'll have to be using Illustrator to do that. So let's head over to Illustrator, you guys, and create a new file. Since the last one we made was a custom 5x5 with for artboards, that's what's showing up right here as my recent item. So I'm just going to go ahead and say okay. But if someone wasn't here last week and didn't create it, then you should go ahead and create a 5x5 with 4 artboards. Now, for some of you guys who were in my morning class, when I talked about bleed and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not going to repeat it, but just so you know, this is where you could also set that up. So if I go to print and I create a print type file, you'll see that one of the choices that I can set up here, more settings, is you can set the bleed over there, right? So the same thing, and this is just for people who were here this morning, which is 3 of you guys, Moni and Christina and Amberly. You could go to more settings and set up your Illustrator the way we set up our InDesign. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying that's something you could do. I'm going to go with the more with the regular 5x5 for artboards. No bleed. See here it says bleed, no top bottom bleed, no margins, no anything else. But just to point out that since we're doing it in the print mode, the color mode it designs in is CMYK. You could change it to RGB, but if you're really going to print, it's going to go, whoa, 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 something's wrong here. Because if you're going to print, you shouldn't be in RGB, right? So we're going to talk about when that works or doesn't work. But for the most part, if you're going to print this image, and this is how we started it under print, it's going to give you CMYK, yellow, black, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, and raster effects. Now you guys understand more, those of you who took my morning class, why 300 PPI. If I put a photo in my design that I do in Illustrator, and I'm going to print it, that photo has to come in at 300 PPI for it to print well. For those of you who weren't part of today's class, let's just focus on Illustrator. Then it doesn't matter if what I just said makes no sense. Don't worry, that's part of the digital design techniques class, okay? So for now, for everyone, 5x5x4, and that's all we need. For the rest of you guys, I'm pointing out some things here that are similar to the InDesign. All right, so let's say create. And here we go.
Where do you put the 4 in at?
Artboards. Here, let me go again. File, new.
Sorry.
Over here, artboards.
Oh, I see it. I've already got 4 there. Thank you.
Yeah, because if it's the same one from last week, it just opens up the same way. As usual, remember, Adobe always gives you the default settings set at wherever you left them last. So if last time we had done 2 artboards, then it would have given us a 2 today to start with. You can always change it, but the default is 2. All right. So let me see. I think, did I miss anyone's questions? I think I read everything and that there were no other questions. I think that was the rest of you guys is just writing what you did, which is great. Yeah, so that is the only question. Okay, so I'm going to leave it on so that I'll remember, and back to Illustrator. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm trying to go to okay. I was like the question that you asked, Curtis, but I think that the answer I gave you is the wrong one, so I'm not going to try to answer it again. I was going to give you the demo, but I won't because it's probably something else, so I'm going to leave it there. Okay, so guys, we're going to go ahead and begin to connect some of these shapes together. Now, let me go back here and turn this off and show you what we've done until now, even though we began to join them as groups, but they're still all individual shapes that don't interact with each other. Like in this one shape, we modified and altered the edge. In this one shape, modified, but we haven't had shapes interact with each other yet. Does that make sense? So now we're going
Yeah.
to find some tools that begin to help us connect our shapes in ways that give us different objects and things. And I'm looking sometimes, does any one of you guys who put, do you have any of that going on here? No, because even the hedgehog that Moni made the other day is still pretty much individual shapes, although you might have at some point joined some, well, maybe this one. Did you just draw this one or did you use some of the shape builder tools for this one, Moni? You probably did that and cut it out. You probably used a shape builder tool. Never mind. And Moni, I think you're still working, so I won't bug you.
Sorry, I couldn't get
Now,
the button. I did do
no, that's fine.
some shape building. I did
Okay.
like the body and the little
The-
legs. That was 2 shapes I put together.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I actually said, I think
So,
I said, oh, in the clouds, of course.
okay. So what I'm talking about is, and then maybe these grasses, did you make like a star and then
Yes.
cut the bottom off? Yeah. So it's one thing, you could draw this, you could draw this basic, the light brown body shape. You could draw that shape and make one of the, anchors curve out like this. You could have drawn it as one. Or you can make a circle, and another oval, and then join them into that one shape. Does that make sense? So sometimes it's easier to distort things. Sometimes it's easier to just join them because had she made this shape, it might have not been symmetrical, right? If you make this oval and then you do that and you do that, you might end up with curves that are a bit different on all sides. And if that's what you want a more organic shape, that's great. But if you want something that the top and the bottom curves at the same angle, it's easier if you're not manipulating the corners and hoping you do it right both sides. Yeah.
The cheeks
Or
are also
it's
the
two
the
circles
white.
that you
Yeah.
joined.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So yeah, instead of drawing that and drawing that, she made 2 circles and then joined them such that the middle is missing. So that's an example of where we're heading today, although you can go from there to like really complicated shapes. But on the other hand, this one that Amberly made, this is probably just duck, 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 which is fine, probably with a pen tool, unless you double clicked with a curvature tool, either way. But notice, not that she was trying to, but notice that then each tip has its own angle, its own shape, and that's fine. There's nothing right or wrong with it. But if you wanted to do it identical, I would dare to say that unless you had had a nice set of guides telling you where to click, it would have been hard to know where to do that, then that, then that, and have it be exactly the same length and distance as this one, right? So you might want the totally loose shape, or you might want the identical one. That's a choice to make. But if you want the identical one, you're better off joining full shapes. Okay, so that's a little example of where we're going. Let's go ahead and start doing some of that. First of all, let's start with our good old basic shape. Let's go with a rectangle. Start with a rectangle. And then, since our first rectangle is always this boring white fill and black stroke, let's give it a visible fill. And when I give in examples, I'm shying away from these guys. And you've seen some examples from Moni and from Andrea where they were using gradients and it looks so cool and it looks so, special and whatever. That's great. But for now, for these learning a tool, I want to, and I'm going to teach you much more about how to do that. You're going to learn how to do that yourself, like making your own of these things. But right now, for these kinds of examples, I want to stick to solid colors and shapes because I'm trying to teach you a different tool and you can get kind of confused on what's where when you get this kind of stuff going. Plus these patterns move around and it's like, what do you mean? The flower is like, it's a whole different creature. So for now, please fill with just basic colors. If you know how to make your own colors, because you've taken this class before, you can get creative with your colors. But other than that, for now, it's not about colors. And even if they're pretty or not pretty, just go with it and make a regular shape. Now, I do want us to make a stroke that's a bit fatter because we're going to see how the stroke behaves in these issues. So let's make like a 6-point stroke, something that's really visible. And let's not make it black because then it's hard to see the anchors in the past when you're learning. So I'm going to make it, I don't know, orange or something like that. That's a good one. And now I'm going to do Command or Control 0 so that I'm filling that first page with my choices, with my file. So this is a good set of colors to learn from because I can see my anchors and my paths and my widgets and all my stuff.
Excuse me, Diana, you said do control 0 or control O?
Controller command 0, yeah. Because when I
Zero,
was zoomed out, right, when I do controller command 0, it fills the screen with that first artboard that we made the rectangle on. Okay, controller command 0 is a fill your screen command.
Oh, I did it.
It rectangle pops up for me when I do that.
The rec command 0 gives you a rectangle.
It's a pop-up screen because you said control. Oh, I know, it's
Yeah,
Windows.
so control is for Windows, command is for, yeah, command is for Mac, control is for Windows. So it's not, yeah, command in Mac you shouldn't hit control. It does a different thing. Okay. So now let's go ahead and choose the ellipse tool and make a good old ellipse, but let's give it a different fill. I don't know, I'm gonna go with pink, and then my stroke is going to be brown. No, that's a boring stroke. Red. Ugh. Red and pink don't work. Maybe a deeper brown. Okay, here we go. My goal is that you could still, I need to make sure that we can still see the path, and that's not a good color stroke because we can't see the path. How about that one? There we go. Then you can see the paths and the anchors and the stroke, you know, all. I want the stroke to not be too dark so that you can still see your anchors and your paths. Okay. Now, these two shapes, if we look at layers, one comes above the other, right? Because I made this one after. So as you know, we can have it, it's just a review, put it in front or put it behind, just using your layers mainly to make sure you know where your layers are and that you have it all handy. Okay. So now we don't need the layers per se, but what we need is to have them overlap a teensy bit. Okay.
You grab it so quick and move it. And when
Yeah.
I hold the space bar, anyway, it's not, how do you do that? Just grab the one?
Grab it and move it. I
Yeah,
select it and I drag my finger around, but I'm in the selection tool, which is the top black arrow. I don't know what tool you're in, because once you made your circle, you're left in making circles. You have to always switch back to
got
the
it.
green,
Works.
to the V, or V is the shortcut, or
Yes,
go up
move.
to the black arrow tool. Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
And now, no, that's fine. So make them overlap a goodish amount, like this yay-ish amount. Okay. And now what we're going to do next, I said, is work on joining shapes. So you can never work on something that's not selected. So if we want to work on these shapes to join them, that means we need to select both of the shapes. And I'm spending some time saying this in a roundabout way because a lot of times when this tool doesn't work is people forget to select both. They select one and then the tool won't work. You need to select both. And how to select both would be either click, shift, click, or just click and drag across these little bit of each one, and now you have both. So selecting both is the first step you need in order to where you use this tool. Now I zoomed up a bit so I did Command or Control plus so that I can zoom in a bit more. All right, so now the tool that we're going to use is down here. It's called the Shape Builder tool, and it's, you know, that's the shape of it. I don't know how to explain it, and other than it's right above the little gradient tool under what's the eraser tool, and that's where we're gonna go. So we're gonna, it doesn't have an easy shortcut because it was created only when I say a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and the tools that have good easy shortcuts have been created, you know, 25 years ago, and they took all the good ones. So if you want it, you need to do Shift M, forget it, you don't need it that much, so just go and get it, click. And now just watch me for a minute, don't do anything with it. So my tool, when I first select it, the other two, these things have to be selected. It has a little plus sign hanging from the arrow, right? And look what happens when I hover over the green. It made like a little grid mark check thing. And then when I hover over the pink, It grid marks that one like a mosquito netting kind of a screen, and here it's like a screen, but it doesn't do the rectangle and the oval. It does the rectangle, the oval, the parts that are on their own, and then it gives another screen for the overlapping parts. So it's like really 3 parts, so to say. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, if you really pay attention to what I'm about to say later, you'll discover that it isn't really 3 parts, it's 4. Because it's this piece that sticks out, this piece that sticks out, and then here there's 2 parts. There's a pink and a green part under this, right? Later, when it matters, you'll find out there's really 2 parts here, even though we're only seeing 3, okay? Like even we're only seeing 1 right here. So there's really 4 versus 3. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I want this whole thing to be one shape. Okay. So since I'm in the plus mode already, see how the arrow has a plus mode, I need to click across, click and drag. As long as I touch a bit of each and let go, I have made one shape. I'm going to undo that again. And I can go in the other direction. It doesn't matter. D, 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 D. And as long as I get to touch a bit of each one, so I can't like do like that, because now I've joined those 2 and I've left that one behind. I just need to touch a bit of each one. And now I have one shape. I have joined my shapes. Now what happened to the colors? Did it matter if I did
I can't
this?
see.
Okay,
Does
let me
yours
stop.
turn
Let me
smooth?
start and stop again. Oh, I thought you couldn't see. Not that you couldn't see, but that you couldn't see. Sorry, let's try again. So I was stopping because sometimes. So what I'm saying is, if I move from here to there. Okay, so hold on because I'm gonna
When
select
you're
these
done
two again.
moving, the screen effect goes away.
No, I'm not moving the screen. I'm taking this tool. Okay. And I'm
I mean, like a
pointing.
window screen.
Windows screen? Oh,
Like a window-
the
yeah,
window
that.
screen. Yeah, when I move out of the shape, the screen goes away. When I put it over, it exists. Like it's the screen. See, it happens when you
Thank
hover
you.
over it.
I
So
usually
now,
have 2 monitors. I don't right now, so
yeah.
I'm squished.
So when I hover over one and drag tin, 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 and let go, the whole shape,
Yeah.
if I look at my layers, it turned into one shape, literally, my 2 different shapes. Now I'm going to do Command Z, and now I'm going to do like that, right? So what happened to the colors, guys?
Are they underneath?
So the color that wins, so to say, and takes over the whole shape is the one that's on top. See that? Now, there are certain circumstances where you can get it to do the other way, but just if you keep it as a rule, that if you want the shape to stay green, you would have to move it on top. Then the whole, whoa, see, there you go. Let me select it from scratch. Huh.
What happened to it?
Deanna, does it have anything to do with the color picker on the side? Because even if you
Yeah. The last one I made, you're right. So if I select not the group, right? But if the last one I select separately, if I go back to my selection tool and I select the green one, and this is green,
There.
then when I select both to join them, they stay green. So thank you, Andrea, for pointing that out. I was like, wait, what was the rule? Because that was something that used to be different and it changed. Now it goes with whatever color you have in the color picker. So thank you. So I'm going to undo that again. And it's
Okay.
it's not about which one is on top, but usually the one that's on top is the one you just made. So 90% of the time, since you just made the one on top, the properties panel has the pink color. So when you join them both, it feels like the top one is always the color, which is 90% of the times. But if you're joining 2 things that, where something else, or if you just made I don't know, I'm going to make a purple one here. No, purple's too similar. I'm going to make no one has an orange fill. I make an orange fill there, right? So if the last thing I created is an orange fill, and I then select these two, when I join these two, it turns orange, even though that's not part of the orange. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
So,
Not know what happened.
all right, so if everyone managed to join two things and turn it into one, literally you've lost the individual bits and pieces. Now give me a yes.
Oh, where is it?
All right. So I think, did someone write? Barbara cannot draw, but good at cutting and pasting and spraying a thin color over. Okay, I'm reading your comment. Okay. All right. So am I getting yeses and nos from you guys? I don't have my second computer open, so I need to, let me move it over. Okay. So Barbara, you said no. How can I help?
Oh, I'm totally lost. I'll probably have to catch
No.
up. I'll slow you down.
Go ahead and share your screen, because this part, if you do this part, you'll know how to do the rest. But I need you to get this one little portion right. So go
I
for it.
can't get the thing
Yeah.
back on.
You're not lost. You did it. What do you mean you're lost? What can you not get? What's missing here?
I can't. You got it to show green, and
Oh, I was just playing around with
need to
different layers. So
slow
what
the
you need to,
mouse.
okay, so what you need to see is your layers. So go ahead and let's do this. Grab your layers panels, which are right there. See your layers? You might have zoom in the way, and drag it out and put it right next to it so it becomes its own little panel. Yeah, like separate it
Oops.
and then,
More.
yeah, and now you can point back and put it like, grab the word layers, grab it
Up
from the
here?
word, yeah. And then now move it to the right, and you'll see when you get a long blue line appearing there, it'll be the moment to let it go. So keep going to the right, keep going, keep to the right. Your mouse has to be touching that edge, so you're still like an inch away.
Oh, okay.
There, now let go. So now you've made a new panel. Now you can collapse it with that tiny little double-headed arrow. And now you can even bring it a little bit smaller by grabbing it from here and dragging it in. And now you've got what I have. Cool. So now when you want your layers, you click on this and you
it
see your
pops back
layers.
out.
Yeah, go ahead and click on the layers. Cool. And then over here is your properties. So click on your properties. Good. So now you have your properties over here and your layers
My
over there.
green disappeared though. There's no
Yeah,
green.
I'll help you in a second.
Okay.
Once this is laid out, it's much easier to continue. And I will just drag open the layers so that you can see more objects when we get to it. So go over here and put your mouse there and just drag it
Up
down.
here?
Yeah, the edge. You need to touch the edge. You'll have a double-headed arrow. Yeah, just drag it down so you have more space. Keep going, like halfway down or something. Okay. All right. Cool. So now your panels are set correctly. Now, you're operating with a tool that is not a handy tool. You're on the zoom tool, and you should be on your move tool always, because the zoom tool isn't necessarily what we need. So go to the move
Clues up here.
selection tool. Yeah.
No.
Now you already joined these
Selection
together.
or
What?
should I just hit V for move?
Yeah, the black or V, either way. Yeah, V or black. So since you already joined these, and you've done lots of little things in between where you're trying to get stuff, it's not easy to just do a Command Z to undo to get it to go again. But you might need to do Command Z, 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 Z a bunch of times. So go ahead and do that so that we get
I
back.
can't. I need to slow this mouse down.
Why are you using this? Why are you using that tool? How did you pick
There.
up that tool, and why did you choose to use that tool? Because that's going crazy
What,
for
my
you.
mouse? I use my mouse all the time.
Yeah, but you left that tool. How did you choose? You should have chosen the Z to get that, right? How did you choose
Okay.
that tool? You left the V. Yeah, I had you on the V tool, and then you did something in order to pick that up. What did you do? Start moving to the left to the right. Let me just see how you ended up going. How did you move to the left or to the right? I want to see what you did that you ended up in that tool. Just do what you did again, that you were going right, left, right, left.
I
want to
was
see what you
down
did.
here on the slider.
Okay. All right. So that's,
Because I hit V.
yeah. But see, now you're going to the side and you're still
Oh,
in V. Now
now
you're
it's
moving.
now it's working. Okay, my V
No,
wasn't
no, no,
working.
no. Stop, stop. Now you're moving the shape. Moving the shape is different. Moving the shape is different. Go ahead and say Command minus a few times. And this is for everyone, guys. This isn't just for Barbara. So please,
Yes.
everyone, do this. Zoom out, Command Z a few times until you're seeing your artboard. There, you're seeing your artboard. Okay. Now, when you're in your V or selection tool, if you move that piece, go touch the pink and exactly what you did. Go ahead and grab it and move it. You are moving the shape, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And if you move the shape, sometimes you want to move the shape, but other times no. You have like a house and a hill and whatever, and the shape isn't supposed to move. What you need to do is move your vision so that you move a bit further to the left or to the right, right? That's what you were trying to do by grabbing these. Now, these are
What do you
very
mean by move your
unreliable.
vision?
Like maybe you want to now see page 2 or artboard 2, but not
Okay.
move this to the artboard 2. You just want to go see artboard 2. The only
Okay.
way to do that would be now, according to what you were doing, is moving the scroll bars. But that is
Okay.
really, then that like jerking back and forth happens that you were
Yeah, it
doing.
was real
So,
tricky.
yeah, so let me show you a better way. Go ahead and keeping the same selection tool in your hand, which is the one you want to be, hold down your space bar. Now you have a hand. Now click and drag your way to the left or to the right. So now you're not moving the pink shape from where it is. You're just scooching yourself over to, you're panning is what it's called.
That moves everything that's on that's
It
on the
changes
art.
your point of view. It moves you to
Right.
see from page 1 to page 2. You can do that again. Go ahead and move yourself up and down. When you said, how come you're doing it so fast? That's what I was doing. I'm moving myself to the left or to the right with,
I
and then when
got
you
it.
let go of the space bar, your mouse is still at the tool that you need to use to work with.
And
Okay?
then if I want to move what's inside the box, I just click on it and move it and it moves.
Yeah, so if you click now and move the box, it moves. So that
Okay, I'm
moves
with
the
you.
shape
Thank
itself.
you.
Okay. All right. Now, you joined these so long ago that it'll probably take a lot of Command or Control Z's to get back to it, but go for it. Go ahead and say Command, hold down, you're on a Mac, so hold down your Command, and there you go. Now they're separate again. Okay, so now put one over the other and let's do it one more time. Okay, so now stop for a minute and notice that the color that your appearance has is the one you just touched.
Right.
Because when you move it, if you had just touched the green one, that would be green. If you just touched the pink one, that would be pink, right? Since you just touched the pink one, it's pink. So now when you join these two, they'll become the color
I'll be
of
pink.
whatever's there. So if you want them to be green, you need to touch the green one now to leave green over there. And now when you join them, select both at the same time. So go ahead and do, and you know, drag a little net over these two. Yeah.
Whoops.
Nope. You have to start on a neutral area. Click there. Yeah. Click and drag across to the left a little bit. No, no, no. Neutral area. Something with nothing. White neutral area. Click here and drag. Yeah. There you go. Perfect. Let go. Now you've selected both. Now go to your shape builder tool. Select that. And now drag across these 3 pieces.
Does it matter which way?
No, the thing is
Okay.
though that you moved and selected in the end, the pink one was the last one you had selected because when you moved
Right.
around, so they went pink. That's all. But
And if I wanted it green, I would.
then you would have you would have to Command Z, select pink, or now you can just go choose pink. I mean, just go choose green, repaint it. But if you wanted the green that you had, because it was a special color, for example, then do Command Z. Now go select only the green one. Just the green, no, undo that. I don't know what you, yeah.
I go
So-
across this way. Nope.
No. Someone has to turn off their alarm because I can't. Okay, so now you're in the shape builder tool. So you need to go back to your selection tool to select just the green one.
Well, I'll put that down.
V. Okay, select your green one. You need to click away because now you have those selected. Click
Right
away
here.
to lose the selection. Yeah. Now select the green one. So now you see green over there.
Yeah.
Now select both by
Okay.
doing that little neutral start on
Do I
white
do
and
the arrow
drag out.
first?
No, you're in the selection tool, which is the right thing to do. So you need to, yeah, don't touch the pink one if you want it to stay green. You need to put your mouse out in some neutral area. Put it right here where I'm drawing. Yes. And now click and drag across a little bit of each one. Click and drag from there. There you go. Now you're touching a bit of each one. That's enough. Now go to your shape builder tool and drag across. And since this is now green, your final shape will be green.
Okay. Well,
Now,
I'm
but
gonna
it's
have
kind of
to.
hard, but the point I'm trying to make, and I want everyone to be paying attention, is that you have to go back for a regular selection to their tool. No matter what tool you're in, all of these tools, you cannot do anything in them other than what that tool does. Every time you're done doing that one little thing, you have to keep going back to the V or black selection tool. So it's so easy to do whatever you do and then just hit the V key, hit the V key, hit the V key, right? After you're done with anything, hit the V key, because anything else you do, you're going to end up needing to be in this tool. Otherwise, you will still be joining things and you're done joining. There's nothing else to join. Hit the V key and keep moving forward. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes, Diane, my memory is so shot anymore. What I've been doing so I can try to catch up, don't bog you down. I'm going and finding the summaries and printing them and
Oh, okay.
having them printed in front of me as I play the videos. I pause the videos and make notes on the side.
Oh,
Because
that's great.
I can't remember anything anymore.
Well, that's really a good idea. Thank you. Whenever I wonder if we got to explain, what is the good of the video, of the summaries, I sometimes wonder, it takes me time to do them, and I sometimes wonder if they're useful to someone. It's really good to hear this.
Takes a lot of time to do,
All right.
and put it together. And then I just
So
now can get to the videos. It's just, I don't know how many times I've tried, but I
All
just
right.
now have got how to do it.
So guys, before I shared my screen, Christina, a while ago you wanted to share your screen, but that was done. Does anyone else need to share their screen? Is there anything you have a question, or can we move forward? You're all good? Okay, I'm sharing my screen again then. All right.
Diana,
So-
can I share my screen now?
Oh, of course.
Este muchacho me preguntó, yo le dije que no sabía. Y sí, podría venir a las 3.
Oh, Diane, when she gets to her new tools, or her big whatever, are you gonna go over the new tools in Photoshop? I hear there's new tools.
I am in the Photoshop class. We're doing, there's lots well, all these programs have lots of new stuff, but Photoshop in particular is adding a lot of AI tools. They're here as well, but they're less prevalent in Photoshop. They're very, very big deal right now. So yeah, but let's just talk about the Photoshop class later. All right,
Yeah.
so Christina, what's your question?
So here, somehow I did the 5x5, but it changed shapes to rectangles, and
Okay,
I
so
can't get
here's
it.
the thing. The only way that would have happened at some point would be that there was a typo when you're creating them or whatever, but at this point you can either undo, right, Command Z your way out again, or you can just live with it. It's not a big deal. We just need places to work in. I don't care if it's 5x5 or 5x10, but you could now go and resize them by turning on the artboard tool. I just don't want to spend a lot of time with it, so I'm going to show you what to do. Click on nothing, like you have something selected right now. So in order to go to your artboard tools, you have to have nothing selected. So click, yeah, click where you are. There we go, nothing selected. Okay. And then in the properties path and over here, you should be able to get to your artboard. No, you're still selecting a path. You're still selecting these. Can you click? Oh, because you're not in the selection tool. You're in the shape builder tool. You need to be in your selection tool. Remember what I just said? V, 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 V. Yeah, hit your V. Now click here. Now you've got nothing. And then here you have your edit artboards. Okay. So you could click on way over there, edit your artboards, and then you can make your artboards be 5 by 5. Right now you have them be 5 as 15, probably a typo. Okay.
Thank
And now, but see, you need to do it to each one now. So, and I don't really care if they're 5 by 5 or 5 by 15, so you're fine keeping them the way they are, but basically now you have to treat them all individually. Okay, because it's not like InDesign or something that the document changes. Artboards are pretty independent in Illustrator. So you need to treat them independently once you're done with the first setup of saying ×4, but then you need to resize each one. Okay.
Got it.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so here, you're welcome. So here we are. We did this one. We did this one so long ago that I'm not gonna have it. Usually I do this example saying, okay, let's undo and do the next thing and redo and do the next thing, but I don't know. If you guys now say Command Z, if it'll turn into that, you might need to hold down the Control or Command Z a few times before you get back to them separately, okay? I want you to separate them again. So basically, we practice joining them. Now we undo. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is use it by holding the Option key. Option is for the Mac, Alt key for the PC. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use, see, look at my arrow. See how now it has a plus sign, and when I hold down my Option key, it has a minus sign. This is something that all across Adobe, Option gives me the negative, the opposite of the positive, so to say, which is the tool itself. The Option or Control or Alt key gives us the negative of that tool. But in particular in Illustrator, it's very prevalent. So now I'm going to hold down the Option key, put it into minus mode. Now I'm going to go ahead and just cross out this bit a little bit and let go. And I have cut out a little chunk. See how it's considering each part separate and the intersecting part a different one. So again, Command Z, hold down the Option, and I'm going to drag across there. And now we're at nothing. Okay. Command Z. Now I'm going to do the other thing. I'm going to hold down the Command and I'm going to just cross. So remember, I'm holding down the Option or Alt, not the Command, I apologize. And then drag and take this a little bit away. Now I've made a little hole. Now I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to take both of these away. I've got that little bit.
Maybe I have
How's that
to-
working? All good? Are you able to do what I'm showing you?
No, everything disappears.
Okay, so if both are selected and you select your shape builder tool, okay, this time we're not in the V anymore, we're in the shape builder tool. Now, if you cross them all, you join them, Command Z. But if you hold down the Option key, you're on a Mac, Barbara, your tool has a little minus under the arrow, and that means that it'll disappear whatever you cross. So if I cross this little internal piece, boom, I disappear that piece, and I now have a hole in between those pieces. I'm gonna give you guys
Oh, there it is.
clear the feedback, and now give me a yes if this is working for you.
Nope,
Give me
the
a
whole
no.
thing disappeared.
All right. So did you touch more than just the minute? So if you're on the minus and you touch all of it, it all disappears, right? So make sure to only touch that little portion, and even a tiny little touch is enough. You don't have to cross it from edge to edge, just a little touch. So if you're trying to do this, you might not notice that you've touched the edges and you've gotten rid of everything. So definitely a teensy little touch there is enough. Does that make sense? And a teensy little touch over here is enough. Now, since you still said no, I'm gonna have you share, but I want everyone else to give me a yes or a no, and then Barbara share again. Let me see what's happening to you.
I gotta get the.
Okay, so let's Command Z. Oh, well, of course, right now it's one piece, Barbara. So if it's one piece, when you try to undo this, it's gonna all disappear because you don't have it divided into more pieces. So I had done a Command or Control Z to undo until I had two pieces again. There you go. Now, holding down your Option key, hold down the Option key, minus, okay, now go and touch the middle piece, for example. And now move out, okay? But you needed to have separate pieces. You were working on one joined piece, and if that was one joined piece and you touch it, the whole piece disappeared. Got it?
Yeah, I didn't
Now,
back up far enough.
okay, now go ahead and Command Z and then get rid of the pink side or Command Z instead of that. Okay, thanks. So
Diana,
how
which
about
one is the Option key for a PC?
Alt, Option or Alt?
Alt. Okay.
Okay. Now, one thing that's happening here, so now I did Command Z or Control Z for the PC, and now I'm back to just having two shapes, right? So everyone please have two shapes again. And then give me a yes when you're back to two shapes. So you're doing and undoing, just to practice the tool. So if you're back to two shapes, okay, Christina, Vera, you got it, everyone's got it. Okay, Christina, you got two shapes again?
I've got two shapes. I just never
Okay.
got to the cutting of the circle.
Oh, I didn't know that when I asked. Okay, I didn't know, I didn't see you say no, apologize. Okay, so if you got two shapes, select them both with the selection tool, with the V or selection tool. So that's
Got it.
important. If you have only one, then it won't work. Select them both. Now go to the shape builder tool. And now you're on a PC, right?
Correct.
Hold down your Alt key and you'll see that that plus sign turns into a minus.
Correct.
Now drag it across here and it should disappear. Did that work?
It disappeared.
Okay, now do Control Z to bring it back. Now do a little minus by holding the Up key and holding it across the center.
Okay.
Got it? And now
Yeah.
cross both of these. You eat a little bite out of that rectangle. Okay?
Got it.
All right, so now back, Control Z again to have both. And now everyone, let's get rid of the rectangle part that sticks out and the pink start that sticks out. And I'm left with this shape. How many shapes am I left with now?
One.
Try again. It's a trick question. What do I mean, try again?
You have
Let me
some of the green and the pink?
Well,
I
there's
have a bit
two
of green
because,
and a bit of pink.
yeah, it's the one on top. One sitting on top.
Exactly.
So
But how do I get to see that one? Well, first of all, some of you might have astutely had your layers on, so you would see them. But if you didn't have your layers on, then you have to hold the V key down to go back to your selection tool and then click away. Okay, because when you're first when you first go to your V key and you try to move it, it still moves as one because they have both selected. Click away, then click on it again, and then drag it out. Right? So it's like, why? Because when you first let go, even though they're two pieces, both are selected. So they move as one. So how do you select only one? Well, you click away and then you grab the top one. Looks like we did the same thing, but now we grabbed only one. Does that make sense, you guys? All right. So now you can, okay, so now let's put these somewhere out there. And if you have these little bits of pieces that are hanging out there, go ahead and give me a yes. If all this worked and you have two paths and it's a shape that you got based on the original, set of shapes? Give me a yes. Okay, Barbara?
No, I don't want to hold you up. I'll watch the video however many
right.
times I have
Okay.
to.
All right. So the important thing is to keep changing from tool to tool. This is really, I mean, from teaching this class tons of times and from seeing lots of people with problems, Christina, Barbara, the two people who have shared their screens up to now, it's usually the same problem. It's that the selections are like you're trying to select and move things with the wrong tool in your hands. You're still at the shape builder tool. So you need to remember to go back to the selection tool, then do things that selection does, and then both select at the same time, do the things that the shape builder tool does. Now, if I try to select these two with the shape builder tool and to join them, I'll be out of luck. Why? Because they are not touching. So they do need to overlap. Okay. I got them to share the same color, but they need to overlap in one way or another. Now I can select both. Now I can join them. Are there other ways to join shapes? Yes, they are. Is this just one of the most efficient ones for many ways and reasons? Yes, it is. But now I made them touch a little bit, and now I'm able to move this shape around and, whoops, treat it as, sorry, as one shape. Okay. Now, let me, let's stick with, I'm gonna undo both of these so that they're fine. They're separate. They're two separate shapes. Now, let's build a star tool, a star shape with a star tool. So where's the star tool? Under the rectangle and the ellipse, there's a polygon and a star. We're gonna go with a star. And whatever color is set up here from the last time that I used it is whatever color the star is gonna come out, right? Unless I want to change it now before I make it, nothing has to be selected. If something is selected and I change it here, I'm going to change them. So make sure nothing else, like select your selection tool, click away, make sure nothing's selected, then set that side star tool. And then if now you want to click in here and make your star be, I don't know, blue with a yellow stroke or whatever, what would be a nice stroke for the blue? I don't know, green. Now, since I changed my appearance with nothing selected, now when I click and drag, I have changed the appearance of my tool. Actually, let me go for a deeper green. Okay, or a lighter blue. I'm trying to see something as visible. I want to make it pretty, and then I go, no, not pretty, visible, visible. I'm teaching stuff that I need to have you see. And light blue is the worst because everything there is light blue. So I'll go with that, which isn't pretty, but it works. Okay. So now I made a star. Now, there's some tools that are new and different from people who've used Illustrator before. First of all, I already told you how any shape, you hold it from a little bit outside and you flip it, right? Sorry, be it a rectangle. Here, let me just to demonstrate here, I have a basic and old rectangle, and here I have a basic old ellipse. So those are the ones that we've been using up until now. I can select any of these and hover a little bit outside of the bounding box and I can twist it, remember? In fact, we use the rotate tool, but last time to make our flower, but that lets you shift the axis. But when you just have the black arrow tool and you are just shifting the bounding box, it always skews, so to say, from the center point. Now, one thing I didn't show you yet is when you have an there's a couple different shapes that have special things going on. So one of them is the ellipse, one of them is the star. Let's start with the ellipse first because it's a bit easier to show you since you've played with the ellipse. Let's make an ellipse of some kind. Let's make an ellipse and I'm going to make it, I don't know, if I want to make it round, I have to wait until my pink things mark them, but I don't care if it's round or not. I'm just playing while you guys tell me. But see, when I see these pink lines across and across, that means I've hit the boom. That's a circle. Okay. I'm gonna go with bright yellow. Okay. So then notice that the circle has a little like antenna sticking out on the far right side. If I grab that antenna, click on it one time, and then click and drag, I'm making a little Pac-Man out of this guy. And I can go all the way to that. But notice the bounding box. The bounding box isn't around the pizza. The bounding box knows that this shape kind of exists, and this isn't, you know, it keeps holding the whole shape, even if you're like that. Does that make sense? It's kind of interesting. And you click away, you select it again, it still knows that that's its originating shape. All right, so I made a little Pac-Man. I can still distort it, long thing, like everything else I could do before, but I was able to click and cut a little bit out. Now, sometimes that's useful. But for the most part, it's a little bit gimmicky. How many times do you need this shape? I'm going to show you how to make something like this with the tools that we just made. But for now, let me put this a little bit over here to the side so I can show you the funky things that the star has. So now let's move the star into place. So remember, the circle didn't have those little widgets that made curves go, angles go into curve. And the rectangle's weird thing is these little widgets that then make things go curved, right? So there's little things that each shape has just because it's that shape. Now we just made a star. Go ahead and select the star. For those of you who took this class for many, 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 many years, the only way to modify the star was with shortcuts on the keyboard. We could give it more tips, less tips, longer stars, better stars. Now, there's this cool little shape right there on the bounding box. I have it there, so look for it on whatever side of your bounding box it might be. And see how when I hover over it, it says plus or minus? I can give it more tips.
Whoa.
Or less tips. And the least amount of tips is one of those little ninja stars, 3 tips. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Okay. This used to be a whole series of shortcuts, which is now just that. Pretty
Deanna, what was the
cool.
shortcut before to add the points?
So you had to do it while you were making the star. Now that it's made, you were stuck with what you had, right? So what you had to do is while you were making the star, so I'd go back and when I'm making the star, before I let go of, oh, that wasn't the fun start. When I'm making the star, before I let go of my mouse, I can now go up arrow, down arrow, right? Up arrow, before I haven't let go of my mouse yet, right? So then that is something I could do. But once you let go of your mouse, you were stuck with as many stars as you had, tips. You had to do it again. There was no changing. So now you can make it and then change it. So that's the much more flexible. You know what I mean? Because you're not stuck with what you've got. So if everyone has been able to make a star, by the way, this is new, Barbara. So you, even though you might
Yeah,
not have gotten something
I've got
before,
that.
give it a try. Yeah, but
I've got that.
I saw you
just
sitting
don't
down.
have the other stuff.
So this star, if you've been able to get more or less tips onto it, that's good. Give me a second and to show you a couple of the other things that again is something you could choose while you were making before. You've always been able to modify your stars, but only in the making of it.
You want
Now
some
watch.
screenshots?
What's that? Hello? Okay, I don't know.
Sorry. Hold on.
Can you?
Did you want to do a
Monique-
screenshot?
Oh, thank you. Screenshot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yay, thank you guys. Let's do a screenshot of all the stuff we've been doing, and I wish I had done it for the join tools, but at least let's do this. We can do another little join tools later. But Pathfinder screenshot. But for now, at least do a screenshot of the stuff that we have. But let me show you then, in this bounding box, I have that tool which I just showed you, right? But then I circled 2 other tools. Let me show you just so you can see what they are. I'm going to make another, oh, I can't because that's exactly where they were. I'm circling them right there. Okay, there, so you can see what those tools are. Now, I'm gonna move my stuff out of the way a little bit because I want to show you what those two are. But I want to leave that there. So as I make the star, the next star I make comes out with as many points as the one that I'm doing right now, okay? Then I will be able to use this internal little white guy to reduce the radius of the star. So the same amount of tip points, I can make it be a fat little like awards emblem or a less one. And with the other one that's over there, I can curve it, get your like a little starfish or something. Or I can grab on the circle that's at the end and I can lengthen the tips. So by the time I'm done, I can have more tips. The big stroke that I have here doesn't work for stars. It's too fat to have a tip. So on this one, I'm going to go down to a 0.25 stroke. So each one of these things does something else. The circle, the circles, the white circle here and there, change the radius of the tips or the radius of the internal circle. And then the curvature widget curves it's like the rectangle one. It's this one that turns a straight line into a curve. So that little curvature widget there curves up the stuff that's inside or curves out the tips. Oh, here it is, curves out the tips of those stars. So you can have this thing happening. And then you can decide to make it bigger or smaller. Or you can still decide to put many more little tips onto it or many less. So look, we started with a star and look at the shape we ended up with, right? Just by playing around with all those different tips and bits and pieces. So if this worked for you, give me a yes. Oh, hold on. No, don't give me anything because you're all, there we go. I cleared your answers. Give me a yes. If you need help, give me a no or speak up.
Diana, I have a question. So with the
Yes.
star, how could you arch the points, make them curved? Would that be with the pen, the curvature?
No, with the star, you go, this is what I did there. You go over here to the tip and the internal little guy curves the points.
No, I mean like if you wanted it to kind of be wavy, modify.
Yeah, so that's different. Then we need to start working with curvature tools
That's
and
what I was
arrow
talking about, the curvature pen and
yeah,
paths
and
stuff.
arrow tools and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So a little more in depth. Okay.
Yeah. For now, this is all acting on everything, but it's still pretty much a very symmetrical shape and star, yeah. Now you can decide to click one more time on all these guys once you have them and then only do, one or click one more time and make one tippy and one very small and one kind of tiny and one big. So it's individual. Once you have them individual, you can really begin to do, things that are individual to it. And I guess I can end up with a little person or a bat or who knows what. The thing is, now, is this still working as a star? Well, technically it's still a star. So if I go over here, I can still go get more or less points. But once I leave out of my amount of points, it basically turns it into a star again. See what I mean? So the tool still works, but all the modifications stay at the one where I had, I think, 8 points or whatever it was. Clear my drawings. Okay. Go ahead and give me some screenshots of these new blobs instead of stars, which don't need to be blobs. You could also have made them be something else, but right now mine ended up being a bit blobby.
44.
Okay.
I want to put it.
But the reason I showed you some stars is because now I wanted to show you on the second artboard. I want to make just a regular star. Boing, boing, I made a star. And it's so hard to get out of wanting to make the fixes now instead of later, because I did that for 25 years, but I'll just make the star and let it go, knowing that I can make fixes later. But let me add more tips.
I don't know.
Now, what I'm going to do is use the tool that we learned earlier, the shape builder, to make something like
Now, how did I do that?
like this grass, kind of. See this grass there? Do you see this little grass spot that I'm pointing to there that Moni made? I'm going to go ahead and let you guys think about it a second. Everyone except for Moni. How can I get from this star to a little bit of grass? Maybe my stroke is none, so it's just green. So I'm going to go ahead and make my
Do you
tips a little
capture
bit.
some points and then straighten them out?
No, yes, I could do some of that. And that would be a little bit what Andrea was asking, like you change tools and stuff. But right now I'm just talking about tools that we learned today. And we will get there. I will go and move these tips and stuff with the arrow tool and the curvature tool. But
Would you use the shape builder and do the
Mhm.
opposite? So you just put like a rectangle on top that's white, or no, it doesn't have to be white, but
Yes,
Okay.
that's it.
perfect.
That's it.
That's the solution. Good job. I think this is probably the first time someone has figured it out before I show it. Awesome, Andrea. So let's get a rectangle tool, make a rectangle, right? It doesn't matter what color it is. I'm going to make it a different color just so you can see that it's a different shape, but it doesn't matter whatsoever. But what matters is that I'll make a rectangle and put it intersecting in an area that matters. So maybe I need to select the star again and straighten it or something because you might have a weirdness, but I put it right in the lines from there to there, right? I overlap them. And then I'll select them both. I'll hold my shape builder tool and I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key and I'm going to just drag it across both of these shapes. And now that's not exactly this shape that I just told you, but it's beginning to be, well, actually this one is that shape. Over here, you did something different, but that is that shape actually. And big, but it is that shape. So if you're able to do that, this is a good time to do an undo and do a screenshot of this bit because this is us showing how to use a shape builder that I didn't tell you to do a screenshot before. So I'm going to do a screenshot of this. Can you all please do a shape builder tool screenshot? And then I could even have some fun by taking only the bottom part and of just the star. And now not only do I have the green stuff, but I also have the other side of it. And maybe I want to do something with this if it's fun. But it's the negative side, so to say, and the positive side of the same thing. And that's just one click of the shape builder tool. So now I'm going to do a screenshot of this. All right, if you've been following along and this is all working or you're on your way to doing it, but like you see how to do it, you're just doing it, give me a yes. If you can't see what you're doing, I need some help, then give me a no. Christina, the messages you're writing just to me and then no one knows what your questions are. Can you make sure to write to everyone since these are like class questions? Reserve the writing to just me for things like my head hurts or whatever, but for class questions, try to choose the to everyone part. So you said you found the star, but you can't draw on the board. So I'm going to stop my share. And can you share your screen so I can see what's happening?
Sure.
Meanwhile, everyone play around and make new shapes. Now that you saw how I combined that star, go ahead and make other shapes and begin to combine them and take away from them. And you can combine 3 or 4 or 10 shapes and take parts away and add parts away. Now see if you can start making something with that. I'll give you a minute or so while I'm waiting for Christina to share, and I'm helping her to play around with other shapes. Okay.
So I
All right.
clicked it
So
on
go
top,
click on.
and then
All
I
right, so
clicked
you
it.
need. No,
And
no,
here-
no, 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 no. Stop, 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 stop. Okay, I see what you're doing. You're trying to modify your toolbar with this, which is not the play. This is not how you get a tool. That's what's happening. This is not, oh, you weren't here was it last week that you missed? We changed from this workspace to another workspace because this workspace didn't have enough tools. What you are doing, and when I said no, 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 by doing these 3 little dots, it's not touching another tool. You would have to then grab that tool, put it in the bar, and then grab it from there. I don't want you to modify this tool. Just let's get a different art workspace. Let's go way over here to the right and choose the workspace that I'm using, which already has the star tool. And it's click on that, and we're working on the essentials. Yep. And then go ahead and bring out your layers again because it got stuck in there. So just grab your layers. No, 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 stop. Stop going to the toolbar. Do not touch this. Avoid that one. That is like rarely if ever used, and it's just about modifying bars and stuff. Don't touch that one. Please don't touch that one anymore. Go over here and choose your layers. Do you see over here? Yeah, and just drag it out and put it here. Yeah, perfect. And then over here, choose your properties again. Yes, and then drag this one down to make it a little bigger. And now you're set so that you have, okay, good. So now on the Essentials tool panel, to get the shapes, you need to go to this thing and hold down to the rectangle and hold down. Hold down, and there's your star tool. Okay, so now all your tools are under one spot. You have more tools than before, even though it seems like less, you have more tools than before because all these tools that have a little tiny white triangle to them, they have tools underneath them. So this is many more tools than the getting started set. And we had switched out of that one last week. All right. So now, now the star gives you a star. Okay, so now play around with the little bits and pieces of it.
Specify the dimension.
That gives you more points. Cool. Then that little circle there is going to help you make the tips of the stars longer or shorter.
So if I want to move that star, or I guess
Yes.
you just created another star, right?
No, you can,
moved
but
it.
no. What's the thing that I told both you and Barbara that every time you share, you have one mistake, and I want to say it this way because I want to make sure you guys get it. What's the mistake you're making right now?
Oh, up here.
Yeah. You are in the tool called Make Star. So you kept making more and more and more stars. You have like 2 or 3 under there alone. So you need to leave so before you try to do this, hold on. You still need to move the star pieces around. So wait, let's not get into making that thing. Bring the star out here again for a second. I want you to move all the different portions of the star because you just made your first star. So there's things that you need to still play around with. Okay, so this one you already did. You added, you took away some stars, tips. Now, there's that circle there. There's that circle there. There's that widget there. There's that widget there. Okay, so there's 4 things you can move now. So start playing around with those. That one, yep. So this is making the inside radius of the circle bigger or smaller. Okay. Then that one is curving up your the tips, the inner little connections are becoming curves. Okay. So that's that little guy. Then over here, wait. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Wait. No, there's more. Then over here on the tips, you have a white and a tip. So These are different. Which one are you holding? So now you're making the tips taller or shorter. So you can make them really long out, can move them down again. Keep moving out, keep moving down, grab it and move it even more down. I want you to see all the possibilities. There you go. Okay, really outer in. And then when you let go, then the inner one widget will make your tips be rounded. No, this one. On the tip, there's an inner little widget.
Ah, the blue.
Yeah, and that'll put the tips will become round. Okay,
Whoa,
so you can make the tips round or long or short.
make a gear.
Okay, and that's those, yeah. Or you can make the inner circle long or short and the inner circle curved or not. Okay, so that's those four things plus the one over here in the bounding board that lets you add or take away stars. Okay, so there's 5 little things you can do to the star.
Thank you.
Now, make yourself a new one over here, and yeah, let's do the whole cut off the little garden grass crown part of it. So you go back to the make start tool. Yep, there we go. Perfect. And now draw a star. Now to manipulate this, you need to know. There we go. What do you need to do? You need to leave the star tool. Leave the star tool. You just made 2 new stars. Once you've got the star you want, you leave the star tool. When you got your rectangle you want, you leave the rectangle tool. Okay, guys, go back to the V. You want to make it have more tips though, because there's not much to cut out from here.
That's that slider.
It's down at the bottom. Yep, there it is. No, it slides up and down the left. No, it's it's that little,
The
it's this
round
thing.
thing.
It's that,
That one goes around.
this one. No, okay. This thing here.
Oh, the
No,
one out.
no,
Okay.
no. On the bounding box.
This one.
Nope. This way. Okay, do you see my arrow at all? Since you're painting in pink, you're not seeing it. That one. Now move that one up and down. But since you've also played with the rest, but anyway, that's a good shape to cut out. Whatever, cut that out. So now, I didn't mean cut that out, like cut that out. No, I meant let's cut that one out. So put it somewhere overlapping the other one, then select both. And then you can choose to take some pieces off. I'll let you play with that. Let me
Okay.
stop your share. Okay,
Thank you.
so did everyone take a chance to post stuff while we were doing that? I forgot to say that, but please don't forget
Yeah.
that when I'm
Then
helping
the other
someone
one-
and you understand what's happening is a great time to post.
What's the
What's that?
shortcut for making a copy?
Hold down the command or control key and drag out.
Thank you.
So I'm going to post a couple things here. I'll be succinct so that we can continue. The shape builder tool joins or takes apart
What's that thing called?
overlapping shapes. Select both or multiple shapes and use and either draw across what you want to join or hold down the Option dark Alt key and draw across what you want to eliminate. Okay. Where's that? Okay. Back to sharing. Oh, I thought I was sharing, but I'm not. I was just posting, so that's all I did. Okay. Is everyone there? Any questions before I moved on? Before I move on? I'm looking at the time for a second here. Okay, we're almost there. So now let's do this. I'm gonna want to duplicate this shape and, I could copy it and then paste it somewhere else. Or I could just drag it down here, but then I have to move it. When I like zooming in and out, I'll zoom out, Command minus, it's so easy. Then I hold down the Command key and drag this, oh, not the Command key, sorry, the Option key. And I drag out, it was the Option Alt key, Curtis, not the Command key. Then I just dragged out a shape. So watch, once again, I was here. I know that I want this shape on another artboard. It's hard to drag and take and you have it somewhere else and I don't see the other artboard or command. It's the easiest thing in 2 taps, two, right? I see everything. I hold on the Option key, drag it out, and then Command Control 0, and I start working with a new one again. Does that make sense? So you want to try to minimize work, but at this point, even if you have to do a copy paste or whatever, I'm going to grab this one because this is the question that Andrea had earlier on, and then I believe Christina too, or someone else mentioned, Curtis mentioned, someone else mentioned about other tools that you can use. So say that I wanted to, first of all, showing you again this hedgehog, and I keep showing it just to show you it's stuff that's been done and it's been done here. It's not like, before you got some other stuff in front of it, like the other one has more complicated things, but this one here, right? It's basically this one, only it's been distorted. How do you distort that? Well, you could, remember, black arrow tool bounding box makes things squishier, taller, longer, fatter, right? So you could turn that into this really quickly. Isn't that what we're seeing right here? See that right there at the bottom, you guys?
Mhm.
She's got it kind of hidden, but that was how she made that and that. So the next time she showed that image, she had worked more on it and she has little lines and she has little things. So here it looks like she began to just draw it, right? Am I right, Moni? In this one, you drew this one versus the first two that you did?
Actually, I just
Oh, you're
I made that
modifying.
as a whole object, and then I distorted it by like it's just using the handles and the
Okay.
anchors. Yeah.
Grabbing, so you did have in the end something like this, and then you started grabbing the little
Yeah.
bits and
Just kind of.
pieces and distorting them, which is interesting because that's what I was about to show, but I didn't think you were doing it straight to this one, so that's good.
Mhm.
So anyway, so was everyone able to copy one of these little, like, it could also be the Statue of Liberty's crown. I mean, it could be so many things, right? But basically your half star tips can be now, okay, and now we go into, yeah, either the white arrow tool or the curvature tool or the other stuff, but the white arrow tool right now, because I don't want to add or take away points, I just want to modify them. So I'm going to go with the white arrow tool. And now once it's selected, you select one more time, right? And now you can modify how far in or out
Oh.
this goes. Or I can grab, 3 of these at a time and just move them all sideways. So not
Okay.
just one at a time, right? But I can actually just drag with my little grabbing with the white arrow tool and move them all equally, right? Further in, further out. Yeah. Or decide that these need to move further in. Or this one has to overlap the other. Now I'm kind of crossing them over. Now, of course, mine doesn't have a stroke, but if I had a little stroke, I'm going to give it a little dark green stroke. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Then you can see this a little bit better, right? So you basically have to click one more time to begin to have your individual crossings overs, or if you take these two tips, then you move them both at the same time, right? So
moving clock.
what? And then you give them different heights, so it's a bit more realistic, or whatever it is that you want to do. You can also grab this end here and decide that it starts fatter. Anyway, so as you can see, we begin with a shape that seemed pretty simple or pretty whatever, and then we can just modify it to our heart's content, and it doesn't look so like computer generated, yada, yada, because you are modifying it to your needs.
Diane, can you bend them?
In this case, no, because I don't have any anchors on the corners. So if I want to bend them, I need to add anchors. And yes, we can add anchors. That's what we studied last week. How would I add anchors to this, you guys?
I'll go back and watch the video.
If
Uh,
I choose
Curvature
either
tool?
the pen tool right now, since these are straight lines, and if I want to bend them like in a straight angle, I would go to a straight angle corner. So I could just put one there and put one there, for example, right? So I'm going to do that. And if I do that and I go back to so I added straight angle tools. Now when I grab this, it's going to bend there because I made a little edge on it. So it's going to bend. And if
I
instead
remember that.
I add a curvature tool and I put some curvature tools in there, then when I go back to that and I start to play around with them, right? Then I can begin to have some more fun or realistic, depending on how your shape needs to be. You can, pretty cool. So I never thought that with the star we could make some grass, but yeah, we start kind of curving their edges. And next thing you know, you got yourself some
Grass.
wavy grass. Now these I can double click to turn them into hard ones, right? And then you've got double click on these guys and then put a
That's
little,
great for somebody that can't draw. I love it.
I know. I come from a family where everyone is either a painter or an artist, or my sister's an amazing illustrator. I'm a graphic designer, which is a different skill set. A photographer, it's a different skill set. So I really appreciate Illustrator. It allows me to do things that my hand and pencil don't actually do. So anyway, here with a little, I can just wave one of these in and one out, and then another one out, so I can, a bit more of an even. But then I'm going to grab the white arrow tool and drag this down a little bit and move this up. And with the white arrow tool, I can play around with the curves, But yeah. So the more you do this, the more you begin to see the choices and how to handle it. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys play a little bit with your leaves. And if you do that to the whole leaf, you'll end up with a nice little natural looking. We've gone through many different types of leaves here. But yeah, it's playing with the anchors, playing with the curvature tools, playing with shapes, but it all started by a star, but then it makes it easier to modify from the start, which, as Barbara said, if you're not necessarily an illustrator, you might have a hard time knowing where to lay the points to get your grass to start. And it's easier to modify what's there, which is what I began to do here. Okay. Now, put this one there, et cetera, et cetera. So on this side, I'm beginning to make them a bit more flexible. And you can play around with that, et cetera, et cetera. Now it's beginning to look like an octopus or something, but anyway, as I keep playing. So let's go ahead and do a screenshot of that. And if you're not done yet, that's fine. Now, right now, I have so many different things here that are like practice, so the layers aren't telling me much. I'm not using layers as layers themselves, so it's okay if you don't include the layers right now, because this is one piece, it's not layered. Now imagine if I start modifying a second piece, maybe I flip it, maybe I color it a different tone of green. I don't know. Maybe it does go, in front or behind and so basically, yeah, you can end up with a nice little jungle there. And again, I've only kind of worked on this side, that's still sharp. But yeah, it kind of begins to work. And then if you have a little mountain in front of it or a hill, it all begins to make a little art. And
Cool.
all we've done is use basic shapes. There's so many other tools to draw, hand draw, that I haven't even shown you. This is just what's considered the primitive forms. These are called technically primitive forms, the basic shapes, the basic closed shapes. Okay. So I'm going to stop my share. I want to see your screenshots. I want to see what you're doing in the Padlet. Actually, I should still be sharing so I can share with everyone what you're doing.
Not yet.
Oh, I see what, no, Barbara, I have shared the Padlet here earlier. I will share it again. If you can't post,
Oh,
definitely.
I can go find it. I just, I
No,
have a
no,
shortcut
it's
to it,
fine,
but
but
it's
it's
an
so
old one.
easy for me to put it in the chat.
Okay.
Very easy. I just put in the chat and I put it earlier on, but then when people join a little bit later, the first part of the chat, you only get a chat as of when you join. So you don't get the other stuff, but you're right. If I look about it, no, I didn't put it in the chat yet. Sorry about that. So there's
So
the
where
chat.
do I put it that's easily accessed when I'm working in Illustrator when I'm not on?
Well, I have it in the class handouts. So if you go to the class handouts, you double
Yeah, I
click
just found
and
them.
I have it there. So I have it either in the Zoom class recordings. You said you go to the summaries, right? Well, those are the summaries and here's the Padlet link right there. Okay, and you said you use the
Okay, so I
summaries.
could drag that out to my desktop or not?
Yeah, you can, or you can just open it once and then you can make a bookmark, for example, and you can create that into a bookmark. Or, yeah, if you drag this out to your, no, if you drag it out, how do you make, I'm drawing a blank right now. You make,
Well, I could save it to bookmarks, maybe.
you add it to the reading list or to bookmarks, but there's a way to make it a little thing, a little, click it onto
Your
your,
bookmark.
yeah, but it's not just a bookmark. You can make a bookmark. That's what I do when I want to save a thing, or you can pin it, but there's a way to make it. Trying to remember what it was. There's a way to make it, is it one of these? No. There's a way to make it into a little link that you can put on your desktop, and I can't remember.
Yeah, I used to have one, but it was for an old link to a Padlet.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I'm teaching this and I'm drawing a blank on how to do it. I'll come up with it in a second. I'll just look it up, but yeah.
On the
So let's,
on PC, you can just
Mhm.
actually click on the tab and pull it right down into the bar.
yeah, I'm trying, yeah, but not on the dock. But if you put it on right now, if I try to put it on my desktop, it turns into another page. So, and it doesn't go into the dock because the dock is only for applications. But there's a way, and it's so easy and it's just not coming to my brain right now. I can't remember, but I can look it up, except for that I need my break, so I'm not gonna look it up during the break, but it's, just look it up, how to make a Safari tab into a shortcut. Just do that and I'll figure it out in a second, but right now I want a break. Okay, so I'm gonna go and post my made a tuft of grass. Used a star and a rectangle
It says it can't be
that
used.
overlapped. Then I used the shape builder tool to eliminate the bottom of the star. Then I used the white arrow, which is called the direct selection tool, to alter the position of the
Got it
grass blades. Then I used the pen tool and the curvature tool to add anchors along the paths and used those new anchors to create wavy blades of grass. Okay, so that's my call for a break.
Oh, I guess that's what she's showing.
And I'm going to publish that. Okay. So everyone, please publish your shapes that you created and that you're altering and stuff like that. I just gave you the Padlet, and I noticed I had not given it to you. And yeah, let's take a break. Remember to show me your work in the Padlet. If you don't want to post in the Padlet, share your screen with me and show me your work so at least I can count that I have seen it. And can somebody look at the time in your country, not in mine, and tell me what's 15 minutes? I know that we're at
3:30.
3:30. Okay, so be back at 3:30 p.m. Cool. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Dropbox, no.
Hello, hello. I'm here again. Sorry, I was looking for something for my mom. It took a little bit longer. Whew, I am getting cold. Put my little sweat shirt on. Okay, so give me a hi, Lori. Thanks for your patience. I guess you tried to join when we were on break.
Can
Nice
we
to see
share
you.
1 second so I can show you what I copied?
Yeah,
the
go for
link?
it. Go ahead
Okay.
and share. So, let me see.
Let's move that.
Link to Illustrator, Diana shortcuts. What is it that you're showing me? Just your
Okay,
links?
this is where I go for the Padlet for Illustrator, and this is the one for
Nope,
Photoshop.
that's the wrong one. You have Photoshop Fall 2023. That's a really old one.
Okay, that's right.
See how it says Fall 2023?
Yeah, that's what I keep
So,
running in.
yeah, so go here.
That
I
one's
can,
But is
I
the
can-
Padlet for all of them, or is there a Padlet for each one?
for each one, yeah. So let me stop your share and I'll give you the right ones. But yeah, when I go to our class handouts, then if you go to the handouts for each class, okay, so these are the handouts for Illustrator. And I also have it here in that how to use Padlet
That's
Illustrator.
in
I'll
shared
also have the link.
drive. Shared drive
Yeah,
and
and if I go to the shared
inside-
drives for Photoshop,
inside email.
there we go. And then in the Photoshop one, and this is just for you, there's the Padlet. And I'm gonna put this in the chat, you guys, but this is the Photoshop Padlet, okay? So the one I just put in is not for our class. I'll let her choose it and select it, and then I'll get rid of it, so don't get confused. But yeah. The
But is
Padlet
that
for,
inside mail, or is it like in student resources before you get to mail?
no, it's not in mail, it's in the class handouts and the shared drives. Okay, but you said you go and get the same place that you get the, you said that you've been using the summaries, right? To print them out and to write down?
Yeah, but I searched for about a half hour and I can't remember
Okay,
how to get back
all right.
in.
So basically you go to the shared drives. In
And
your
that's
Google shared
where
drives, you would have.
That's not in pipeline.
Shared drives is in your, you have to go through your pipeline account, yeah.
Okay,
And then you get into your Google Drive and then you get into the shared
boxes.
drives. Why
Okay,
don't you stay a little bit after class and I'll show you again. I don't want to take more time this
Okay,
class doing
thanks.
this. Stay a
I'm
little bit
sorry.
later and then, no, it's okay. I'm just
I
explaining
just
how.
have too many things in my brain, I guess.
Mhm. Well,
I
don't
can't
worry,
remember.
I can show them to you. I just need to make sure that we know how to get to your class handouts, okay? So anyway, Lori and anyone else who wants to go now to the correct Padlet for Illustrator, I just posted it and I'm gonna delete the Photoshop one so that it doesn't stay there and no one makes a mistake. And now the one I just posted is the Illustrator one again. All right. And see, they're separate Padlets. This is
Y ahora,
Okay.
y ahora que vamos a ver las cosas ahí en el cuarto, ahí las han dejado en
Ah.
una bolsa plástica.
Okay.
Presta.
All right, so cool stuff you've been, oh, look at that. Amberly made some really curvy little bunch of leaves, and then Christina posted her stars, and then Curtis made his little distorted leaves shapes. There's so many other ways to distort things. Ooh, look at Andrea's. Ooh, you actually made it look like leaves. Nice. Good job. Okay, well done. Thank you for posting, you guys. Now we're starting on something new, Lori, so don't worry if you didn't catch up with what we were doing, because we're going to. Now, this is a file that has a lot of stuff and we haven't saved it yet. So let's go ahead and do a little save right now and keep it. So we're gonna do Command S and say save on your computer. And I'm gonna call this one shape builder exercises or whatever, just practice. Just we're building upon different shapes and moving stuff around until we're creating new shapes with that new tool, shape builder tool. Okay. Now, in order to start, now you guys, believe it or not, you don't have, oh, I wanted to show this example because Moni was playing ahead while I was showing you the simple examples, and she's got like 3 different shapes here, completely different shapes. And then with that same tool, you can go in and start making new things, little bits and pieces. So each one of these pieces is out here and cut. So, I mean, this is just 3 basic shapes with no particular grace or character. Imagine when you start putting things together that are, necessary, and you can start doing some fun stuff. But now you can see back to when the first example that I gave you. Now you can imagine how, where's the hedgehog? Moni said that she had made different circles and then she had added the shape. Now it looks like the first one you showed me was a little like curved leg, and now this one you gave it some shape to turn it into a paw. But that was originally 2 or 3 separate shapes. And then when she mentioned she made the clouds, then there you go. The clouds are made out of a bunch of little circles that are then joined together. Okay, so that's using the shape builder tool. And this is the comment that I wanted to say, that this, like, I love Illustrator, I could keep going. I have to stop. That reminds me of, Andrea, who was all like gushing over it and saying how fun this was. It's like, it could be so easy. I can sit for hours and play. It's like, I love it when people find ways to use the stuff that we're learning. So, that's fun. Okay. So now that is, I need you guys to get to, there's only so much examples I can give after that. You guys have to start being, having fun with it. And as we build other shapes, we're gonna be creating more shapes with this, but in the class handouts, which I was just showing to, to show how to get to the class Padlet. But in the class handouts, I also have some files that I haven't had us download necessarily, because in Illustrator, of all things, we don't use so much stuff made ahead of time. We start with stuff that we're starting from scratch, which is what we've been doing. But there is a folder with class files, okay, which has some stuff in here. And some of you guys who've been in this class before have recreated some of these, but for some of you guys, this is new. Like last time I taught this, everyone recreated this village. And with everything you know right now, you could totally recreate this village by you know how to make triangles, you know how to cut out shapes. This is that example that I gave instead of the blades of grass last time. Here's how you would make the clouds and then cut off the bottom. You could make the circle. So you could totally make this village with what you know right now. So if you want to, you can do that. Another thing that I use a lot is having these little tiny houses and then having you guys create some of these houses and just choose one. You don't need to recreate the whole thing, but you can say, I'm going to recreate the barber shop and figure out how to make the scissors, or I'm going to create the toys, or I'm going to create the flowers and create some of that. So this is your homework. You can either recreate some of the things that I have here, and then this one's really fun, and this one's a bit more advanced because these are more wavy, curvy shapes instead of the straight shapes. So you can recreate some of these little houses with that ocean. You can do 1 or 10, it's up to you. But basically, this is all in our Illustrator Share Drive under Summer folder. There's some files, and mainly those are the 3. The others we'll use for something else. And then this one is one that I use to demonstrate some other effects, but you can also recreate some of these guys, which again, this is pure circles and rectangles. So like with what we know how to do right now, you can pretty much do any of these shapes, okay? I'm going to start showing you some free hand tools as well, but I want you guys to consider some of these. Now, does anyone need a reminder of how to get here. And I was just thinking when I told Barbara that I would help her after class, but I'm like, I really want you guys to have all of these files yourselves. I can also put these in the Padlet. So right now, I'm going to download the 3 that I showed you and put them in the Padlet. But the one that I want you all to open is this one, these little lions, because I'm going to show you a couple of new things, some new tools that allow you to play around with these. But I'm going to download each one of the ones that I just showed you. And if you've already done them, choose a different one. Oh, and then there's this one that's the sunset that can also be recreated. So now I'm going to, why is that one missing a piece? Okay, Sunset Beach. I have one here that we don't need. I'm gonna move that one to the trash. Okay. So in the Padlet right now, I'm gonna upload homework, recreate, and then I'm gonna post these guys. I have one more here, rocket, that if you haven't done the rocket, that one is a cool one to recreate. But I think a lot of you have done that one. So I'm going to publish the rocket. Let me keep. So you don't need to do all of them, just choose one or the other. But for those of you who've been doing many of these, you might want to choose some art of your own that you're going to create. Okay. Let me keep giving you some of these, and I'm going to go to this and just go by date added since I just added. Okay. And then finally, I want you to go grab the one that and download the one that I'm posting last, which is okay. So those are all choices for you to recreate any one of these, okay? The rocket, one or all of these houses, one or all of these houses. This is a bit more fluid forms, okay? So it becomes a little bit harder. The village. So the village and the houses are like the easier ones. Then the rocket, then the beach, and these houses as far as levels of harder or easier to recreate. And now I'm going to just write the word lions, and I'm going to put this lions file up here. And I want you guys to download this exact file. So everyone go to the Padlet, and we're going to use this one. I'm going to say copy. I'm going to paste it right here. Again, to get to the Padlet. Okay, so everyone get to the Padlet. And then refresh to make sure that you have the latest things, because notice that the rest of these are screenshots, and that's fine, but this is an AI file. It's an actual Adobe Illustrator file, okay? See how it says AI down there? So when you want to click on this one, it's just gonna, when you click on it, it's just gonna download into your computer. That's just what it does. It just will download automatically. So I'm going out to my downloads folder. I'll have the lines twice because, well, it's called adding effects. It's called copy of adding effects. Okay. And now I have it twice because just by clicking on it, it downloaded. Okay. So please give me a yes when you have managed to download these, the Alliance for right now, and then choose which one of these you want to recreate for your homework and download it or download all of them, okay? So that we can see if we can recreate them. Okay? Give me a yes when you're done. And
can you tell me how I download it in Illustrator?
so all you need to do is click on this guy, and when you
I've got it.
do,
Yeah, it's downloading.
it's going to download. Okay, so once it's downloaded, then when you're inside of Illustrator, we need to go and say File, Open, and go to your Downloads folder, right? Find your Downloads folder, and it'll be there. And you can open it from there, and it's an Adobe Illustrator file.
Thank you.
So it'll open into Adobe Illustrator. So once you have this file open, give me a yes. And you know what? I'm going to clear your feedback again. So if you already said yes to me, say yes again, because I don't know if I had done that before. And I just want to give me a yes so that I'm clear that you're answering yes to the same thing I'm asking, which is, do you have the Lions file open and ready to go?
And Deanna, real quick question. When
Yeah.
you say with the other ones you recreate, we can't download those. We're just going to be looking at those.
Yeah, no, you can download it. You can also download it. Yeah, you can, good question. Thank you. First of all, you can find them in the class files, but second of all, say that this is the one that you want to open, the homework, the little houses, for example. You could click on the three little dots that are right next to the name right there, and you can say download attachment.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, and then you'll open it up, and then I'll show, but let me just show you how you would do that. You'll open a flat, so you'll open an empty file, right? File, new, you'll make a new document. And then you'll go file, place, file, place, file, place. And then you go to your downloads folder and you'll just select the one that you're going to work on and say place. And then you're going to just drag it in there to have it as a working example, right? And then you start building it. And one of these 4-page documents is a great idea because then you can start building like the base of the houses here, the ocean, the whatever. Like one can be where you build the whole thing. And then here you do the parts and pieces, like you need to make the surfboard, you make the surfboard. And once you have a surfboard together, you put it in there on top of the little house, So you can work with the different things, even if you end up with the one little house over here. Does that make sense, you guys? And then if
So-
you decide to make more of them, you put more of them together.
Diana, when I downloaded them, as you said, click on the three dots, it created a PNG file.
They didn't create a PNG, they are PNG files.
Okay, well,
That's what they are.
that popped up. It never went to download for me.
Yeah, so these are
Oh.
PNG files, okay? Sunset Beach PNG, Village PNG, they are PNG files that I uploaded, and you are downloading the PNG file that I uploaded. Okay?
Right. It's not in my download folder. That's what I'm trying to say. It popped up as a PNG file.
Well,
So I
share
guess
your screen. Share your screen. Let's see where your computer is sending it. But you can also go to the class files and download it from there, if that's easier. But yeah, go ahead and share your screen. I was just putting it in here because I know that if I say go to the Clownloads file, a lot of you guys won't. But if I put it in here, hopefully he will do it right now and then you will have it. So I'm just trying to make it easier. All right, so let's see. Okay, so show me your browser where you go to Padlet. Okay, so
Do you see
let's
that?
go.
That's
Yeah,
how it popped up.
okay. So
So I guess what if I just
you
did a
can
file?
you can go to save as, yeah, and then put it in your downloads folder, or put it in your digital, in your Illustrator folder if you have one. Yeah,
Okay.
put it in there, and then say
All right.
save, or put it inside of that one. Yeah, and that. Oh, look at that. You have them already there.
It did it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so there they were. Perfect. Now you're replacing it. So good. It's just that when you open a PNG on a Windows machine, it opens in that program, right? But other than that, yeah, there they are. You have them
Okay.
in the documents, March Forward, Illustrator Summer class. That's where you have them.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. So is that a yes? Does those yeses mean that you have your Lions opened up? So Andrea, did you answer? Yep, up there. Moni, did you answer? Christina, do you have your lines opened up, Christina?
Yes, that automatically went into AI.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah, because that's an AI file, so it opened up in it. Okay, good. So let me share my screen. And let's work in Illustrator now. Okay, hold on, I have so many different files open right now that my computer, which ones do I want to share? Those two. Okay. Here we go. All right, so this was just an example of how to place it, okay? Any of the ones that you want to do, file, place, you go find the one that you want to recreate. So maybe you're going to be doing the village. Oh, I didn't download the rocket. And then you make it the size you want to make it, and then you just start copying it from there, okay? So I'm going to let you guys work on that. Sometimes we work on some of these in class, but I'm going to wait and let you do those. There's one that's a little bit more complicated, and once you know a few more things, then I'm going to help, then we're going to work on some of these towards the end. But right now, I want us to work on the adding effects. Okay, now this one is just a funky little example. Let's first of all open the layers. And this one is a file that has 3 layers. And I wanted to show you how to work with layers. This is not a typical way of doing things, but it is a way of doing things. First of all, these are elements inside of the background layer, elements inside of the mains layer, and elements inside of the faces layer, okay? Now, I don't like that the faces themselves haven't been grouped well, so we can work on that. But we can work on that in a way because we can lock up the mains and the background. So let's do this. Turn the eyeballs off, turn only the backgrounds on. And here what we find is that these are the backgrounds. Each one of these is a background, okay? If you're following and you can see what I'm doing and you're able to see only, and we have a few more, just kind of moving it over here. Let me go Command minus so you can see the whole file. It's locked. So if I try to touch it with my selection tool and I try to do something with it, it's like, nope, nope, sorry, can't do anything to it, right? Why? Because it's locked. If I unlock it, I've unlocked the layer, it unlocks everything. Now I can lock individually, just one thing, but when I lock the layer, it locked every single thing in there. So if I do want to move one of these, I have to unlock it. And now with my selection tool on, I could go and select this thing. And I discover that these things are grouped. And it's this little group right there. Okay, it's these little guys. Now I'm going to undo because I don't want to move them. I'm going to Command Z. But I'm showing you how you can see individual bits and pieces. And now I'm going to undo Command Z, Z, Z until they're back in their place. But that's a group. So the group doesn't have to be parts of one piece, one face, but rather parts of one element that gets repeated a bunch of times. So the way this is made, instead of designing a grouped elephant with its box, with its main, the way this one has been grouped is more in the realm of, I'm going to group similar elements. So I'm grouping the background elements together. Does that make sense? And then each one of these individual ones is a color, and these are different lines or grids and stuff that are showing on top of each one. Okay, so that's how this bottom one was made. Since this is set and we don't want to touch it, we're going to lock it and close it up. Now, I'm going to say, well, let's look at the mains. I'm going to turn on the mains. And the mains, if I turn on the background, are basically just a bunch of circles. That's all they are. Again, if I unlock them, I can individually select one and move it around. But once again, I don't want to do that. I'm going to lock it again, right? So here I have my backgrounds and my lion mains. Then I'm going to turn on the faces. And then if I open the faces and I unlock them, this drives me crazy. This is an example of things that aren't well locked. If I want to touch this thing here, I'll move it, right? And say this ear, I'll move it. But then that ear will move, and I have no idea which ear is which ear. So what I'm going to have us do, and this is what's cool, as long as you lock the others, this is basically what you're seeing is this. So as long as you lock these two, then it's very easy to select each face. Why? Because imagine that if I turn these two all that are locked off, really the faces are in the right place. So now I could select this face and say, And let me show you what's happening. Of all these little guys, this group has just gotten selected, and I went to the top and did a drag. And now I can say group. And there's a group, and I can call this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me call this one number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's number 4. Then I can select this one and group it. And then I'm going to go find that group. Where did that group get made? Where's my selection? Here it is, group, and this one's number 8. Does that make sense? So now I can move this head as a group and this one as a group versus this one is still individual bits and pieces. All right. So let's go ahead and group the faces again by selecting and saying Command G, or you can go over here to the word group, or you can go to the object and group, or you can go to this little guy that we haven't been using much, and that little tool there is the group button, right? And so once it's been grouped, you have to go find up here, where's your group? And you use the one that's selected, and we'll call this one 1, 2, and 3. By the time we're done, we're just gonna have, this is my number 2. Okay, so now we're beginning to have different groups. Then I'm gonna do this one, this will be number 1. So see how they all light up, the ones that are part of that face, all these bits and pieces, Command Control G, and that's number 1. So how about this one? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna group.
How do you know if it's going left to right or up and down?
Well, I'm just choosing to cut this 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing this 5. I just decided to name them that. You can call them yellow, green, blue. You can call them whatever you want. It's me. I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is a choice I'm making right now. There's no, how do you know? It's just me. 6, 7. I'm going to group this one. I'm going to call this one 7. And then I think 8. So I think I have them all. No, I'm missing one. No, that was 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I got the numbers wrong. This one that I called 7 is actually 6. And then this one, that one was 5, 6. And then this last one is 7. Group. And now this one is 7. So after, instead of having bazillions of these guys, now I can move them around, and now I can have them later, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And it's like, oh, good, now I can make sense of it. Now I can turn these eyeballs off and turn only number 4, or turn on only number 8, right? But right now, I just want to have them all on. And then I turn on their mains. Oh, looks like I moved these 2 that I was playing around with when I was showing you. I left them in the wrong place. So good, I can just grab it and move it back where it should go. And this one, I can move it back where it should go. I think I just moved it when I was showing you stuff. There now. There, I think their beards always point out. There you go. Now I give them back. When I was playing around with them to show you how I couldn't move them, I moved them out of place. Okay. So now I have everything in a more handleable way. But I don't want to work on the faces. What I want to work is on the mains. So anyway, once you have all the faces grouped, and this is just an exercise in grouping to make things make more sense, then let's lock the faces. Let's lock the backgrounds, and we're going to work on the mains. And then at this point, go ahead and give it a save, right? When you save, everyone stop for a minute and save, because I want to show you something new. Even if you save again later, if you're in the middle of doing it, go ahead and give it a save. Command or Control S, or File Save. You're going to get this message. Saving to a legacy format may cause some changes to your text layout, disable some editing features. Do you want to continue? This is a file that I've owned for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. It's a file that I've used on and off once a year, once every 2 years or so. I use it, but it was thus created in a very old version of Illustrator. So when I tried to save it in this version of Illustrator, I'm being warned, hey, some of these things might stop working. What it means is there's any weird feature here that you can't use anymore, it might go. But this is basic blocks and circles. All of this is still available, so that's not an issue. But it's warning you in case you had something there that is like not happening in the regular Illustrator anymore. This one should be fine, so I'm going to say okay. And now it's going to be saved as a file that can, can be opened in a newer version. Okay, so I just started trying to explain that thing. Okay, I saw some hands up. Oh, there was a hand up and it's gone now.
It was me.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted you to know I emailed you the hedgehog file.
Oh,
So
thank you.
you can
Aw.
you can see the grouping and stuff.
Oh, thank you. And it's such a beautiful one that I'm going to use it when I go from the email, but also that's if you guys want to go look at it and do a screenshot of it and try to recreate it. She did so much work there. But let me go while you guys are getting all these groups made. I'm going to go and download it so I can open it up to show you all the wonderful little layers and stuff that she's done. Okay, cool. So I'm going to download this file. Cool. So thank you. By the way, see, I'm trying to open a file made on a different computer and it warns me these fonts are not available on your computer. Which one? Monotype Cursiva. Now, I don't know how important that font is. I don't remember what is
It's not
written on it.
important.
And so I'll just go ahead and say, sure, just replace it. Oh, and it's the text isn't editable. Okay, so I'm just going to say, yeah, replace fonts with whatever they propose. I'm fine with it. I'll just say, okay, done. And I'm going to just, I don't want to enable the add because I need to teach that to people. So I'm going to skip that. Okay. So now I was able to open it and I don't even see what font. Maybe one of your shapes has a font or something. I don't know. Oh, right there. Oh yeah, of course it's important. It's your byline, your little watermark. I was like, I can't see the text. There it is. All right, so guys, for those of you who are still working on your thing, if you can spare half an eye to this, she has layers. Okay, so you have new layers. And the fact that I say I can tell that they're layers is because you have many little items right now separated like this lion's mane thing. I'm going to turn all the eyeballs off and she here's got one layer that is the sky, the ground, and some shadows. And if I open up, then here I have a group, right? So this is a group that she put 2 different things together to make the sun, 3 different things to make the clouds, 3 different shadows, 3 different skies. But this is so beautifully laid out and ready to go. You totally, if you need anything from the ground, you know exactly where to go. Turn that off. Borders, turn that one off. Grass and plants right there. If I open each one has its own little group. So it's so tidy, so beautiful. There's the grass, there's the dirt, there's the plants. If I open the plants, I have 3 different little bunches for the plants. That one, right, left, and a tiny little bunch right there, et cetera, et cetera. So see how nice it is to have it all so beautifully little collected. But let me just show you what I was trying to say before. Say that I wanted to put the borders now, and they're not locked. If I wanted to group the borders with the grass and the plants, they are 2 separate layers. They are not on the same layer. So if I select it all, if I tried to group it right now, what's that? I'm hearing some sounds behind. Okay. I lost my layers. They got grouped into one big group, but I lost the distinction. I'm going to undo that. Show you undo, undo, undo. Undo, undo, undo.
Here. So this
Okay,
goes.
here's my grasses and my plant. Curtis,
Donna,
I'm gonna
can you
mute.
mute everyone
Yeah,
so that
there we go. Yeah, I just muted Curtis. He's got some stuff going on. So when I tried to join these two things, grass plants and borders, as one, and I tried to group them, then now when I tried to select them separately, move this, they haven't grouped. Okay. Well, I don't know. That was isolation mode. Hold on. Leave isolation mode. So if I want to, I thought I had grouped them, right? So I want to move them all as once as a group. Huh. It's letting me do that. Now I'm confused. Here I was telling you how you couldn't do that, but it is letting me do that. So let me select them both again and do it again. Group. That's new. Before you could not group across layers. So I just grouped two different layers. And when I go select it and move it, it is working. That's interesting. Well, there you go. I was able to move them as if they were grouped, even though they don't turn into a group, but they're acting as a group. Okay, well, there you go. Eat my words. It's working. Okay, so then that's another reason to maybe use layers, is that now you can work across layers. Before you couldn't. All right. Anyway, so very cool, right? And look at all the little parts and pieces of the hedgehog and all the parts and pieces of the fruit basket. And then this is her little, not little, but her signature back there. So anyway, just wanted to show a well-built file, easy to handle. If she hands it off to me, because she's the designer and I need to make this, fit into the into the brochure, and I go, oh, this green doesn't really match with the green that I need for my brochure, I can go in and I can very easily isolate the green grass and then change it to a dark green, for example. Why? Because she built it so well that in 2 seconds I got to the grass. Does that make sense? So that you yourself can work on your own files, or that others can work on your files. That's really cool. All right, well, thank you for sharing this, very, very great job. And now, is everyone here? Have you got all your groups? Are you ready to work on your lions? Give me a yes. All right, let me see. So Christina, are you ready?
No.
Andrea, are you ready? Okay, it's okay, by the way, if you're not ready, we can still work on this. It was just an exercise in grouping, but you can be halfway done or totally done. Now, if you need help because it's not working, then let me know. Otherwise, if you're just not done, that's okay. We can move forward. So,
I'm trying to figure out if I got to the white screen with the faces of the lions. But
all
I'm
right,
trying
so
to
let's share your screen. That way I can see what the issue is.
I'm trying to
Okay.
think, how can you determine which face is which?
Oh, yeah, so that's what I did, is I just selected with my selection tool. I put my mouse here and I dragged across all these things. So with your selection tool, just do a little drag and you'll collect all of that at the same time. Yep, there you go. As long as you don't touch another face. Now let go of your mouse. And that, if you look down here, a bunch here has selected, but now you clicked again, so you lost it. So again, you need to do that little drag. Yep, there you go. And now choose the group. And it's all of these, it's a ton of them. It would have been impossible to select one by one and to know where they are. At least whoever designed this has them one after the other, but they could have been all mixed up, ears and legs and whatever. So now go and click on the group button there, or the group button there, or do a Command G, and that'll group them. There you go.
But
You
now
have
you
one
said
group.
to name the group.
Yeah,
right?
so double click on that little area that's called group here.
Double click on.
Double click. Yep, on the GR. Yeah, and now call this one, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Call that number 4.
Pink head.
There you go. And say okay.
Ah.
And there you go.
Thank
You
you.
got one down, and then you keep going with the rest. But at this point, we're going to keep working. So you can keep
Sure.
doing this on your own. Now,
Sure.
do me a favor and drag all the way up so that I can see on your layers, drag all the way to the top, like here. Drag all the way to the top so we can see everything. And what I want you to do now is to collapse the faces. You can keep doing that later. But we want to work on the mains, and the only way to work on the mains is to lock the faces, otherwise you're going to mess them up. And now turn on the mains and unlock them, yeah, and then lock your backgrounds, but you can see them, right?
They're locked, aren't they?
No, it can be locked, but you got to see them. You need to turn on the eyeball right here, the eyeball to see them, okay? And now you're not seeing your mains, so you kind of turned off the eyeball on the mains. We need to see the mains. So I have so much pink that it's hard to tell, but yeah, turn on the eyeballs, good. So now the only thing that's workable is the mains. You've locked the backgrounds and you've locked the faces. So if you try to mess around here with your mouse, you can't mess around too much because all you can touch is the mains. Does that make sense? Everything else?
Yes.
Go try and you'll see that nothing is workable other than the mains. Go grab a face and try to touch it and you'll see that nothing will happen. Well, drag it. Go ahead and go select it again and now drag it. And it's the main, see? It's not the
Okay.
face. The face in the background is locked. So now do a Command Z and it's only the main, even though everything could have been, since they're locked, the only thing that became available to you was the main. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
So that's how I want you to set up your file. I want you to lock everything except for the mains. And now we'll be off and running. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select the first main. Oh, did I set mine up that way? Yeah, I'm set up that way. Okay. So I'm going to select the first main, and then I'm going to do Command or Control 0, and then Command or Control plus so that I can zoom into the first face. Or I can just scroll up to the first face, but this kind of helps because once you select a main, and when you do plus, 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 it centers on that one. And what I want us to do is begin to learn some effects. Now, down here, if you look at all of these tools, there's one effects tool right there. But that tool, for those of you who in the past have used this workspace, the Essentials Classic, don't go to Essentials Classic, but that tool, when you click and hold, had these things called width, warp, twirl, pucker, bow, crystallize, wrinkle tool. That was in the Essentials Classic. In the new Essentials, it's gone. And in the Getting Started, it wasn't there even, like it was completely disappeared. So where do we find the things that we like, that we know, that we do know where they are? Let me share my entire screen for a second. You have to go find them in other places. One of the places you can find them is under the word effects, way at the top. And then you have different effects over there. And there's so many effects we're going to show. Most of these effects are under stylize. No, under distort and transform. Those are the ones that were tools. But you can also select a shape, okay? And over here on the far right, where we have appearance, stroke, opacity, there's also a little thing called effects. And you can find your effects over there. And there's a bazillion types of effects, okay? So either you go to the effects window over there and you choose your effects, or you see over here all the different types of effects. And just for now, so we can now notice that this divides into Illustrator effects and Photoshop effects. Okay. And up here, it's Illustrator effects and Photoshop effects. For the time being, let's just stick with Illustrator effects because this is an Illustrator vector file, vector tool. So let's just play around with the Illustrator effects. Now, I want us to be using some very specific ones to start with, so follow me. And I'm going to grab them from here, and I'm going to go to the distort and transform ones first. Okay. So if everyone found them before I start, did everyone find where to get your effects? Select your first main and go over here to the effects and go to the distort and transform. And then we're going to go to the first one, to the free distort right there. The free distort is one where I can begin to, and who was it that asked me today? The towels, Vera? Pretty cool. So you can select your shape and do a free distort. And now when you say okay, you have distorted the shape. Now you haven't moved the anchors and path. This is really important. Listen, the anchors and paths of this shape are still creating a circle. Let me turn off the background for a second and the faces so you can see. Well, maybe the background allows you to see it better. You see how the circle is still the shape that this shape is all about? It's not that I have used the anchors and the paths to distort the actual shape. This is still a circle. It's just if you want an illusion where the fill is distorting, but not the shape itself. Can you see the difference? Now, of course, I can still grab my bounding box and then move it. I could still grab my white arrow tool and decide to, do things to it. But right now, the effect I'm teaching you is just a distortion of the look of it. Now, say that I click away and I don't like where I'm at, I can go back here and see how the effects now says free distort. I can trash that effect, say, nope, I don't want that. And it goes back to being a circle. Now I can go back and choose it again. Where's my distort and transform? Free distort. And I can just keep playing around in here with that one. And then I can reset it over here if I don't like it. And then do that and say, okay. And if I don't like it, I go back and I open it. I don't need to trash it. I can just open it again from here and go back and say, now I want it to look like that. And I'll say, okay. And then I don't like it and I open it from here. So these are all non-destructive, so to say, ways to modify a shape that you can keep modifying to your heart's content. Okay, so if you were able to do that with the first one, then give me a yes if you have any questions if it didn't work. Right now, I'm going to actually trash it because I want to show you some other effects, and I want to have later you can pile up the same one, more effects on each one, but right now I'm going to trash it, and I'm going to go back to distort and transform and go to another one, and each one of these works differently. So this is a pucker and bloat, pucker and bloat, and you're like, wait, we just did something similar, didn't we just do? Well, look at all the different stuff that happens, and this was just a circle. By the time I work on this circle with a pucker and bloat, and your work on the circle with a bloat, we'll probably all choose a different version of this, right? Now, the idea is that these are lion's manes. You can make them be whatever you want, but say I say okay to that, and I'm turning on my faces and and then that's the lion mane for this one. Open up my pucker and bloat again. Now I want him to be like that, or like that, or like that. And this is just a simple old circle that I'm just doing little effects to. For better or for worse, what that means, watch, since it's just an effect on the circle, I can't necessarily use with the tools that we did before. I can't grab my white arrow tool and go grab the tip of this one and move it over, right? Because this is not a star with a tip that I can move over. It's still a circle. I could grab this circle, and if I distort the circle, that'll distort my shapes though, right? But it distorts my effect, so I can do that. But I can't necessarily grab that shape and distort it because truly it's a circle. Does that make sense, you guys? what's happening and what we're doing? We're distorting the circle, which once we gave an effect to it, it turned into a kind of flowery petal. But I can't individually grab each shape itself because I am just really, this was all one circle. If that makes sense, if you've managed to do stuff to this mane, and then you were able to distort it by distorting your circle with the white arrow tool, if that's working, go ahead and give me a yes. And now I'm going to stop and wait for your answers before I keep moving on, showing anything else. Now, you can, I stopped at these two, but there's many more, but that's why we have many manes, right? So the idea is that you then grab another mane and you try something else on the next one. Try another effect on the next one. So I'm going to go to distort and transform and I try the roughen on this one. And when I try the roughen on this one, turns out that I can give it a very rough mane or less of a rough mane. And I can make it much more detailed or less detailed. Okay, so there's just nonstop. Again, by the time we're done, we're all going to end up having a very different set of manes if you try and doing this by hand. Now, one thing that I liked about when it was the tools is that you can do this on the shape itself. Right now, over here, you have to do it here with this tool. I'm going to say okay to that one with a roughen. If perchance you wanted the tool, and let me just show you for those of you who want to do a little bit more fun, have Essentials Classic. If I go, I'm going to select this one. If I go over here to the set of tools that gave me, for example, the scallop tool or the warp tool or the twirl tool over here, then I just with my mouse can grab the circle and suddenly I can scallop it, I can pull it, I can shape it, and do stuff with it. So it's also effects. Let me choose a different one. The pucker tool, I'm gonna bring it all in, all out. So it's just, you know, funky tools, but these are hiding under the, here's a twirl tool. They're all hiding under the Essentials Classic. I think we've got more than enough with the regular Essentials one and the effects tools there, but just showing you if you want to play around, there's more stuff coming on. Okay, so keep choosing different mains and keep choosing different distort and transform tools. Then we're going to go and see what the others are. But now I do want to begin scenes. I'm going to go to the tweak. And there's so many things you can change that at some point, you know, it's like, wow, you have so many options and mains. Now, can I do two things at once? Yeah, can I put a zigzag on this one? And it turns like into a little star. And I'm going to say, okay. And at the same time, can now I add another distort and transform? Can I go to roughen up my zigzag? And it looks kind of weird, but yeah, I can. It looks like lots of blades in there. And so when I say, okay, now I've got the little eye. This contains multiple effects. See there? So if I try to get to those, I have to go down. So watch what I'm doing now, guys. Watch what I'm doing. I had one at a time. Now I've gotten to the point that I have multiple effects here. So how do I open the appearance panel? Because the message, if I hover, it says, open the appearance panel. I go to either these three dots or I go to window appearance. But if I click on these three dots, here I got my appearance panel. And here on this main, I have both the zigzag and the roughen. I have two at a time. And I also have a color of a stroke and a color of a fill. Okay, so this is all for this one. When I click on this one only has the pucker and blow. When I click on this main, I only have the roughen, but this one, I put two effects on it. Now I'm going to put 2 effects on this one. I'm going to go to the twist. And, oops, do I have the wrong one? Oh, the twist on this one didn't work. It's not like the tool. Since it's a circle, sometimes certain things don't. Transform. This is a really good one for skewing your towel, stuff like that. Rotate. Rotate it. So I'm going to leave a transform on this one. Plus, the free distort, which gave us some funky, nice, good stuff. Oh, looks like free distort doesn't want to happen on top of a transform. Some can't be done one on top of the other. Pucker and bloat. Okay. So then this one has 2 things at a time for this one. All right, I'm going to close my appearance panel, but if I want to use it a lot, I can also dock it in here, but I'm not going to dock it. All right, questions, yeses, nos. Now, if I leave the distort and transform, then you're going to have some other things happening that are a bit more complicated. So I don't necessarily, want us to do any of the others right now. Stylize might work. It gives us a drop shadow. So the stylized ones are good. So here I have a little drop shadow. The stylized ones are the feathering. You can just make your shape be softer. So use the distort and transform and then use the stylized ones, but rounded corners on a circle won't work. Inner glow is kind of weird on the circle. It doesn't really make sense. So once I see it, I go, man, maybe not that one. So the best one right now is the drop shadow.
Could I ask,
And
how did
since
you get
it's a
the
dark one,
twisted, the top lion third from the left? You have a
this one.
spiral. How did you get the spiral?
So the spiral is one that I did with the Essentials Classics tool. So I had to go find my Essentials Classics. And then under this set of shapes, I found the
Twirl.
Essentials Twirl tool.
Okay, thank you.
And then that's the one that gives me those little, it's kind of funky. But when I tried to do a twirl, distort, transform, there's no twirl there. There's tweak, there's twist, but it doesn't have the twirl tool. So it's just different tools. All right. I'm going to go and leave the Essentials Classic back to Essentials. And I believe, you know how I kept telling Christina, no, don't bring more tools up earlier on? Well, that would be an example of, yeah, if you really want these tools and you want to add them to this because you don't want to keep changing your workspace, then you can go to these 3 little dots there and then go and scroll up and down to find all your tools. And when you find that tool, if there it is, you can grab the twist tool and you can just drag it and put it on here and you'll add it on and stuff like that. But for the most part, since it's not a tool you need all the time, might as well just, so that's when you want to add a tool, but you can't use it from here. This isn't a usable tool. It's not like you open a new tool. You need to add it to your toolbar, like permanently. So you would just drag it over and add it to your toolbar and stuff like that. So that's a different creature. So it's not like you open it and then you use it from there. Nope, that's not how that works. Okay. So how's it going, guys? Now this one should be a bit more fun.
I'm having
What's that?
I am having trouble. I texted you. Can you put the lions someplace so I can download them? By the time I got there, they were moving off the screen.
Okay, so the lion I put in the Padlet,
Okay, I'll get it there. Thanks.
Illustrator Padlet. So you can get it from here. You can just,
Oh, every time I
there-
go to the
there just-
Padlet, I get that picture of the ceiling, and I think I'm in the wrong place. Okay, I got that.
no, this is your Illustrator Summer 2025, and this is your lions, and if all you do is you click on it, it'll download. All you need to do is click on it and it'll download.
Okay,
And
thank you.
it'll open up in Illustrator. Okay, so guys, I want to start seeing your lions, okay? So let me go to my Illustrator and I'm going to do a little screenshot of these lions manes. There we go.
Oh,
And
we're
I'm going to go over here and I'm going to post Diana effects, distort and transform effects applied only to the lion manes, lions manes. Accomplished by locking down the other layers. And where's my desktop? And here we go. All right. So can I start seeing some of your effects that you're screen shooting? I'm gonna stop my share for a minute. Someone has a question, wants to know. Now, the idea right now, for example, Vera, do you want to go to your towels and see if you can skew or use the distort or something to get your towels to have the perspective? That's one way to do it. There's other ways to do it, but since we're there, you might want to, since we're trying these effects, would you want to try?
I don't have the file up because I had to restart my computer.
Oh,
And-
no, no. Okay. Well, it looks like you're able, it seems like you've been able to do some of the work. You were worried that you weren't able to stay, but I've seen you here the whole
Did
time.
you
So
do
unless
it in
you've been.
Photoshop and drag it?
Oh, no, 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 no. And I know it's tempting when you know Photoshop well. Photoshop, unless you make it as a vector image, which you can, but if you make it as a vector image, guess what? You'll have to use the same vector tools you would do in Illustrator. You don't want to make it as a pixel and bring it into Illustrator because that's defeating the whole point of Illustrator, right? So the answer is an absolute rotund no. But say that this is your towel shape, right? Which it isn't because you have it drawn by different things. You can also just there's a so here I go to the distort and transform, free distort. Then just bring it in a little bit like that and say, okay, see how it did that effective that. But we could also have just grabbed the corner of your bounding box of your shape and then just just click on only that one with your white arrow tool and just bring it in. So this is actually changing the shape with the white arrow tool. So if you could bring up your towel so that I can see, or let me see if I can distinguish how it's
Don't
being
have it
made.
anymore.
Let me see your screenshot of it.
It was created with the pen tool and the curvature tool. So just because it was an irregular shape, it threw me.
Oh, okay. So here we go. Here it is. So Oh, okay, because you have shapes over shape, okay, because you have like two shapes over on top of a shape, and I see how it could throw you, because it's really multiple little shapes. If each one of these is, let me put my, if this is a shape, and then that's another one, and that's another one, and that's another one, right? Then the best thing is to group it, which I think you did group because you have the yellow towel there grouped. So then the best thing is to distort it all at once, right? As if it were a group, or join it with the shape builder tool that we used today. And then you can move it in as one. But the thing is that the fact that you have these strokes in there tells me that each one is a different shape in there, like you created different shapes to do that. And the fact that you had to group them, right? So unless that yellow thing is something else, but I think that's the yellow towel. That looks like that shape, yeah. So then you have to find a way to have them work as a piece. Let me give you an example since she doesn't have her shape here. Say that you made this by, and now I'm gonna go and use my curvature tool. Say that I made, hold on. Let me give it that, whatever, yellow fill or something like that you had. Well, the yellow looks good when you have more, let me just give it a color that's more obvious here. So I'm gonna zoom into this a little bit. Say that you did like something like that, and then you created a shape or something like that, right? So say that that's the beginning of your shape. And then you seem to have created, well, it had a stroke. I can tell it had a stroke right there, right? Then when you have a shape that's one shape, just one like this, right? Then yeah, if you try to distort it, it's hard because it all moves in or out, right? But it's not like it does that to be perspective thingy. So because it's not one shape, and if you grab the white arrow tool and start moving them in, then she had so many shapes, then you start having this problem, right? Like what's the real shape? Do you really need to move everything to move it in? You know what I'm trying to say? Because she had so many lines and things on top of each other, then it's hard to know how to get that perspective effect. Which is why I was saying, well, then get the effect that we just did would apply perfect for a shape like that. Because you just go ahead and do a distort and transform free distort. Then it moves the whole shape in like that, right? So when I say, okay, oh, yeah, it won't work for strokes. I forgot. It does the fill. So your strokes won't be affected, and your strokes were part of what gave it that look. So yeah, so that won't work. Here I am giving you a solution, but it won't work because it doesn't affect the strokes. So if I
Maybe
take
one
the
of the
stroke
other-
out, what's that?
Possibly another effect.
Yeah,
I keep
try with
thinking
some
free
others. There's the
transform.
warp.
Yeah.
Well, there's the warp also, and I'm going to show you the warp for a minute, guys. So I'm going to undo all this so that I can get back to having just a regular shape to show you. So I'm going to delete, 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 because I wanted to get to when this one wasn't. Okay, so here's a rectangle. If you make a rectangle now, and you go down to these effects, there's the warp. And the warp has, for example, an arch. And so this shape now looks like an arch, but you can have it do horizontal or vertical like that. And so you can just give it a perspective that way, for example. But you can make it be lower or bulge or flag shape or fish shape, you know, whatever. But then with all these things, you can distort how it works. So if you put the warp options on that towel, you might end up with something that gives you a perspective.
That could work because when you throw a towel down on the ground, you don't see the rectangle anymore. You just see
Yeah,
a
you just
shape.
see a little warpy shape. So that's the warp effect, you guys. So if you want to go and add the warp effect to one of these mains, so I'm going to grab this one that has less stuff on it. I'm going to add the warp effect to it, and I think the last one I tried was the flag or the wave. Oh, I guess I had already put in an effect to that one. Flag wave. Yeah, I had already given it one of these warps. So here I'm warping the mane. It's kind of funny. Looks like he has long hair. All right, how are we doing? Are you guys posting your mains? I want to move on. This is all different effects and whatever, but it is one skill. So I want to move on and see how it looks. Why is this not trying? Here we go, Andrea. Let's open up. So cool. Oh, and you put some pointillistic effects on that one. Cool. You can also change the faces, you know, I mean, we go ahead and give them other expressions and stuff, but cool, Moni. Look at this little, that's a great little twirl. Okay. Curtis. Look at that guy. You did the twirl. You found the twirl. Good job. Vera. All right. That's pretty fun. Cool. All right, guys. Keep playing around with these, but now, more importantly, begin to add these to your designs, right? Because that's the whole point, that you're going to want to figure out when these things are gimmicky and when they're useful. All right, I'm going to stop my share for a minute. Okay, how are we doing? Everyone's good? Any questions? Nope. Okay. I want to show you some freeform tools now. So these are all ways to create and distort shapes based on beginning with shapes that exist. There's a lot more to work with a shape builder tool. We're going to do more of that, but right now I want us to just create a new file, and I'm going to show you some freeform tools. So let's go again, file new. We say okay to the basic custom 5x5 4, and we start with a new one. Now let's save this one already, and we call this one freeform drawing tools. Whoops. Freeform drawing tools, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ones. And make sure, you might be in the downloads folder somewhere else if you've been doing downloading of the lions and stuff. Make sure to put it in your Illustrator folder and save it there. When you have a new file ready to go, all saved, give me a yes, so I'll know to keep going. Oh, wow. We don't have that much time left. What time is it? 45. We have 10 minutes left.
I'm sorry,
So I'm just show
Diana.
you. Yes.
Should we have saved this line file we just posted?
Yeah. Just Command S, Control S to save it. And it'll tell you that thing about the legacy, and just say, yep, okay.
Okay.
And then let's create a new one. All right. So I'm going to show you some freeform tools. We only have 10 minutes, so I'm going to show them to you, and I expect you guys to just make something out of it and post it in the Padlet as homework, okay? So you have to create some stuff on your own, and then we'll continue getting some nuance going later. But here we have an empty shape, and if you look down at the tools that are offered to us, one of the first tools that comes up is a pencil. You know, this is an Illustrator. Don't you want to draw a pencil? And if you look at over here, we never even had a pencil. There's nothing here that gave me the choice of a pencil. Yeah. In fact, there's a line segment tool, but it's different than the pencil. Click and hold the paintbrush. Then you have a paintbrush, a pencil, and a blob brush. So this is the set of tools that I'm talking about. First of all, let's go ahead and choose the pencil either from here or from the draw pencil. Either way, we're choosing the pencil tool, okay? But just showing you wherever it is in case you later you go, I don't see my little contextual tab bar. How do I get the pencil? You get it from the set of paintbrush. So you'll see a paintbrush when you click and hold. There's your pencil tool. All right. What call your pencil tool? Barbara, Christina, Andrea, Curtis, you have your pencil tool in hand? Okay. The pencil is a stroke. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a pink color and I'm gonna make it be, I don't know, 5 or 6 points so I can see it better. And I'm gonna start drawing. Now, whatever I draw, look at how jaggedy it's appearing. And the moment I let go, see how it smooths itself out? So I keep doing undo. I'm going to drag a line and it's kind of iffy, but when I let go, it turns to a pretty straight line. See that? Again, make it fat so that you can see I'm going to make it even fatter. It looks kind of jaggedy, and when I let go, it looks like a pretty cool curvy thing. So now, let me show you. What if you want your thing to be more jaggedy, more or less faithful? And what if you want to draw something and draw something else and hope it's part of the same shape? Because right now, when I tried to say, so I drew this line and then I wanted to add this and let go, and look what happened. I wanted to make it be like a mouth with a tongue, but when I let go, oh, it lost some parts of it. Or if I do that, then it's two different shapes. And how do I know? If I go to the selection tool, it's two different shapes, like they didn't become one shape, right? So there's good and bad to the pencil and limitations to the pencil, but I can also do that and it's not that shape anymore. So what am I doing here? Let me show you. First of all, let me talk about the fidelity, if you want, of the pencil. So now I'm undoing, I'm back to 0. I've emptied it all out by just doing Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. And now let's draw a bit of a jaggy line and let go. Without changing the settings for this tool, what if I didn't want that to be so tippy? What if I wanted it to be a little bit more rounded? Well, I can go over it right now. Watch. I'm going to put the tip of my pencil over here and I'm going to just kind of reset like that. And it's like I redrew that shape.
Wow.
I'm going to redo that and I've softened that shape. I'm going to do this and I'm going to straighten it. So I can draw something and it's kind of like without erasing it. Well, nope, I did it. I have to go not from tip to tip, but see how I'm kind of touching the paths? So not like that. What's like that? See how I get an asterisk? That's
You're
too
not
far.
on
I'm
a
starting
dot.
a new one. If I have an asterisk, I'm starting a new one. I have to interact with it. So not the asterisk, that's a new one. I interact with it, and then I can just drag to another part of it, and that joins it. Or I can just re-outline a little bit the shape, and it moves up. So say that you are not good at drawing. The first one you drew you didn't like. Well, you can kind of re-get that curve without having to go to the arrow tool, select the arc, make a new arc, which you can do that too. But if you stay in the pencil tool, you can kind of reshape that line. Is that working for you guys?
So how does that work again, Diane? How do you get rid of the asterisks?
By touching this one to a place that it exists, then it works on this one, right? So I'm putting my mouse, let me give it a different color. Maybe you can see it better. Yellow, there you go. That's a better color. So now I am putting my mouse on an area that exists, and then I get to redraw it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like that. That's a big redraw, so big that it just remade the whole thing. So then I do undo, and I was like, no, I just wanted to recurve this one. All right. Now, how come it's so smooth when I wanted it to be more jaggedy? That's a feature that I'm gonna say, watch my hand. What time is it? 5:51. Okay, 3 more minutes. I can double click on my pencil tool right there. Just double click on it. And this box opened up. So I'm gonna cancel it again. Pencil tool, double click. Pencil tool options show up. And it says accurate or smooth, and there's the fidelity is right in the middle. So what if I go smooth all the way to the top? Now when I say okay and I draw, it's gonna be like, no matter how jaggedy I make it, it's gonna give me a very smooth choice. I'm gonna undo that. Let me double click, and this time give it a more accurate fidelity. I'm gonna say okay. And now if it's jaggedy, when I let go, see how it stayed kind of jaggedy? So it isn't a clean line anymore. You see that?
Mhm.
That's because I told it to be more faithful to my drawing, more accurate to what I'm drawing, or no, please smooth me off, or the basic setting is somewhere in the middle. I could find a spot in the middle that I like. Maybe I want it to be accurate, but not so jaggedy, so I give it a bit more of a, each time I have to say okay. And so now this time it gave me some smoothing, but not as much smoothing, and it doesn't look as jaggedy as these look, which were the ones that I made really like accurate. So again, double click on it. I'm going to bring it back to the middle. There's other things I can do. You can play around with them, but there's some things here that when I say edit selected paths within 6 pixels, that's the one that was allowing me to select the path. See, now it's not selected. Anything I do is a new line. I have to first select it. I need to go back to my V tool, select it, then go back to my pencil tool. I need to be within a certain distance, within 6 pixels for it to edit the path. If I double click and I say, no, I can be within 20 pixels to edit the path, then see it takes much further, like I'm way out here and I'm still editing the path. The asterisk disappears. But if I don't want that because I'm hoping to make another flower and I can't because the moment I touch it, it seems to do that. Then I double click and I go, no, I want to be within, I'd be really accurate within 1 pixel only. I said, okay. And now it's really hard to pick up that path. Everything I make will be a new little circle. I went too near, a new little circle because I am too far to touch it. So I really have to touch the path to get it to affect the path. So you get to choose that. I'm going to put back in the default 6 pixels because that's the default setting, but you can play around with that. Then close paths when ends are within 15 pixels. So did you notice that every now and then when I do like this, my path gets closed?
Oh, yeah.
And that's because I'm stopping near where the endings are within 15 pixels. So it's me starting and stopping close to where I start gives me a closed path. Okay, that's it's class over. So if I start and stop over here, that's an open path. But if I start and stop and end myself near myself, then I'm making a closed path. Does that make sense? So again, those are choices. Like you never want your closed paths to close, then turn this off. And then you can make a small little circle and it doesn't, well, I guess it still did.
How
Maybe
did you get the tool
maybe the
option
default
here?
is to close the paths and you just need to make it bigger. What's that?
How did you bring up the pencil tool options again?
Double click on the pencil
Double
tool
click,
right there
thank
on the
you.
pen, double click. So anyway, play around with those. We're going to talk about fill. We're going to talk about other tools next time. But anyway, play around with your pencil and see if you guys can make something. And by the way, here I made it a huge stroke for us to be able to see it, but you don't need to have such a huge stroke. You can have, now what you don't have is a fill because it's just a stroke. So if I choose a blue fill, then this that I just made, and maybe let's choose it to one of these big ones. If I give this one a fill, a pink fill, This is a bit weird because it filled from beginning
curve.
tip to end tip like a line, but it's not a path or an anchor. So if I tried to handle that line, I can't. There's nothing to grab, kind of like the effects. So I would not do that because you can't tell it to go anywhere. It just fills, boom, straight light from end to end. See that? So there's no control over it. Same with this one. I could control each anchor, each tip, but I can't ever control the fill. So I would recommend on the pencil to leave it as a pencil line, right? And to do a fill differently, but definitely there's other tools that we can do fills better, but not fill a line because you have no control over where it goes. So now let's give me some screenshots of this, even if it's just like, random stuff, but it's using the pencil. Maybe we'll double click and get the options of the pencil tool here. And I'll do a screenshot like that. And then save that file, give me some screenshots, and then my request is draw something, play with something with the pencil tools. There's much more to these tools, but we're starting with one of them. Okay? Yes, Barbara?
Can you move the yellow lines you drew? And if you do,
Yeah, but you
pink
need to go
follow it?
grab, you need to grab your selection tool and then move them just like an object, like if you made a box or a teddy bear. You have to select the shape and then you
the
can move
pink
it.
follows on the inside of the curve in a straight line.
Yeah, so if I select my shape with my selection tool, I leave the pencil tool, then I can grab it and move them just fine. And if I grab and I move this, it moves with all of its weird
Oh,
little
it
fill.
moves the whole thing.
But I need to touch the path. So this is such a fat little line that if I just grab the edge, it won't move. You need to make sure to touch the path and then you can move it.
So you can't stretch out the yellow that has the pink inside it.
Yeah, I can grab my arrow tool like any other shape before, and I can grab this arrow and keep
Oh, okay. That's what I
affecting
want.
it. I can grab
Thanks.
the arrow, the bounding tool. So the first things we've always learned that the bounding tool with the black arrow tool stretches or compresses is good. And with my arrow tool, my white arrow direct selection tool, I can click on any of these guys and keep affecting it. So that never changes. It's how you lay down your path by making an initial rectangle or by making an initial line. You can still do that. And then you can modify it either with the pencil proximity or with the good old selection tool. I can also use a curvature tool and add a double click curved path in there. So everything I've been teaching you applies to everything we're doing. We're just adding to it. Okay. So it's a whole bunch of different tools that you can keep adding until
So
you
you
have
can
what you
make a
want.
Pac-Man with him gobbling up something by making the Pac-Man with his mouth open, copying
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll make a circle. I'll make a little Pac-Man out of him. He doesn't have a filling, so we need to put another filling in there. And I can open this up and then I can take him over here and have him be gobbling up this little noodle right there. Now, since it's a Pac-Man, he shouldn't be eating noodles. He should be eating little ghosts. But anyway, that's just a digression. Okay. If anyone has ever played Pac-Man, you know what I'm talking about. Please give me a little Pac-Man for
I'm thinking of my
in
grandson. That's why
in
I
the
asked.
samples. All right. Okay, guys, have fun. I'll see you in a week. Some of you I see before and after, but if not, get some practicing done and post it. Okay?
Thank you.
Diana,
Yes.
I
Yes.
posted my lions and I already gave you a Pac-Man earlier today.
Oh, perfect. I haven't seen the Pac-Man yet. Wonderful. Oh, that's great. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have
you.
a great week. Bye.
Bye.